Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
reading titled Grace Now was written by Ann Cetus. We hurried to a fast food restaurant to have lunch together on my friend Jerry's short work break. Arriving at the door about the same time, 6 young men got inside just in front of us. Knowing we didn't have much time to spare, we grumbled inwardly. They stood as a group at both registers to be sure each of them could order first. Then I heard Jerry whisper to herself, "Show grace now." Wow. Sure, letting us go first would have been nice, but what a great reminder to think of others' needs and desires, and not only my own. The Bible teaches that love is patient, kind, and unselfish. It's not easily angered. It often prefers others' welfare and satisfaction and advantage to its own, wrote commentator Matthew Henry of this love. God's kind of love thinks of others first. In a world where many of us are easily irritated, we frequently have occasion to ask God for help and the grace to choose to be patient with others and to be kind. Proverbs 19:11 adds, "A person's wisdom yields patience. It is to one's glory to overlook an offense." That's the kind of loving action that brings honor to God, and He might even use it to bring thoughts of His love to others. With God's strength, let's take every opportunity to show grace now. Today's encouragement was provided by Our Daily Bread Ministries.
Join me, Trillia Newbell, for a bright start to your weekend with my new program called Living by Faith. Listen as I open the Bible, engage with special guests, and inspire you with hopeful stories and truth for lasting change. Whether you're facing uncertainty, seeking answers, or simply looking for biblical encouragement, this program is your guide to living a life rooted in faith.
Join Trillia Newbell on Living by Faith Saturday mornings at 9 here on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Helping you take the next step in your walk with Christ. And home of Mornings with Brian. This is Moody Radio Cleveland. WCRF Cleveland. WVMS Sandusky. WVML Millersburg. WVMN Newcastle. WVME Meadville. WVMU Ashtabula. And everywhere with the Moody Radio app. Or at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
An Alabama man has died after the hospital he went to removed the wrong organ. It's 6 o'clock. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. The Pensacola News-Journal said 70-year-old William Bryan of Muscle Shoals and his wife were visiting their condo in the Florida Panhandle last month when Bryan began feeling a sharp pain in his left side. He was admitted to a local hospital to have his spleen removed. Instead, doctors removed his liver by mistake. Several teens are in custody after they allegedly planned, or rather at least made threats toward people and were overheard planning a shooting in Akron. When officers arrived, the teens tried to flee the scene but were quickly apprehended. Police say they found 3 handguns and an AR-style pistol in the possession of the suspects. And the U.S. Department of Agriculture is declaring 22 Ohio counties as primary natural disaster areas. This comes as many of the counties suffered from a severe, extreme, or exceptional drought for 8 or more consecutive weeks. The designation will allow for emergency loan assistance to be given to eligible farmers who have lost their crops due to the drought. I'll be right back with sports and weather.
Ever questioned your purpose in life? What was I made for? Why am I here? The Bible has the answers. Join Today in the Word for this month's Bible study on the Old Testament book of Ecclesiastes. The study, written by Moody professor Russell Meek, will encourage you as you learn the answers to these deep questions. To join our study, download the free Today in the Word app or go to todayintheword.com. That's todayintheword.com.
In sports, the Guardians lost to the Royals 4-1, and the Cubs were no hit by the Pirates. no-hit the Pirates 12-0. So not good news on either front. Here is some good news. Your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Sunny skies today with highs in the mid-80s. Currently, we're looking at clear skies, 61 degrees in Cleveland, 58 Akron and Canton, 59 in Lorain, Elyria.
It's time for your moron moment.
Do you have old electronics lying around? Costco's revamped trade-in program lets you swap them for a gift card or a digital gift card. No membership is needed for that. Go to their online portal for a quote. If you're cool with the offer, the shipping's free and you'll have your money in under 3 weeks. P.S. Amazon has a trade-in program too, so compare both to see which one gives you the better price. And that's your Moron Moment. And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It's 6:03. With Moody Radio News, I'm Ron Eastwood.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
Camp, good morning. It's Thursday. Dave Szfranski will be here in a couple hours to answer your financial questions. But, oh, look, she's back in studio.
Aww.
It's Lauren.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm fine. Just like a regular cold.
Do you need a hug from anyone? That's not me.
No.
You should go give her a hug.
No,
I won't
I'm
even
not
touch my own children's hands and face right now. So
even listening to you.
I'm not allowed to cook dinner at home. So
Listening to you right now.
Oh yeah, no, Eddie. He'll sleep in the same bed as me when I have a cold, but he will not let me cook dinner.
Well, yeah, you're probably
So you
drooling
win.
it.
Yeah, I guess basically.
You should be resting anyway.
Yeah, I sit down. I get to have a seat.
Well, but then the kids climb all over you anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. That time of day is just wild anyway.
All right. So you sound great.
You don't have to say that.
Well, but
I'll keep my mic off so I'm not a mouth breather.
wasn't that an insult in that?
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was in Sandlot too. Maybe not. So we have to bring up, Ron, your top story this morning.
Please do.
Okay.
Startling that any professional surgeon, and we are not professional surgeons. Lauren, are you?
No,
You
I
didn't get that
never
at
would
Moody?
want to be.
No, me neither. Daria, you surgeon?
No, I'm a little squeamish.
Yeah.
I did play a lot of Operation as a child.
Right. So
And
you
I got the buzzer all the time.
So you might be more qualified than the doctor that you reported on.
I've watched a lot of Grey's
Perhaps.
Anatomy.
Right.
So
Stats.
basically, I'm a doctor.
Right. And I have a friend who's an anesthesiologist.
There you go.
So you're a doctor.
And I have the internet. So Lauren and I and Daria looked up what a spleen looks like and what a liver looks like. And to me, it doesn't look the same.
Not at all.
There's no similarity. They're different shapes. They're on opposite ends of the body, and a spleen is much, much smaller than a liver.
What in the world, Ron?
Yeah, I know, when I've gone in for hip operations, they definitely mark, this is the hip that we're working on.
And they ask you 6 times, right?
Yeah. They go above and beyond so that nothing like this happens. Because those are internal organs, maybe they can't mark the right spot or something.
But there's no reason to completely remove someone's liver. You can't do that. It's like taking their heart out.
It seemed odd to me, too. And this poor guy was 70 years old.
Ugh,
so you'd
what a
think
tragedy.
you'd really be cautious about that.
So now I guess when we go for surgery, we have to say things like, hey, guys, by the way.
Can you take out the right thing?
Yeah, take out the right thing. You don't need my liver.
I need my liver.
Yeah,
It's mine.
I need it. Heart, need it. Brain, need it.
New fear unlocked. What an awful story.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Goodness sakes. What city was that in?
It was Pensacola, Florida.
Very far away from here, thankfully.
Yeah.
The doctors here would not make those mistakes.
No, we've got the Cleveland Clinic, University Hospitals, top-ranked medical university or medical institutions.
So there you have it. Anyone else feeling sick yet? I'm a little nervous about getting Lauren's sickness.
No,
Don't look at me directly. It might cause... You know how being outside in the winter without a hat on can sometimes give you a cold?
With wet hair, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like maybe you're looking at me too much. Well,
Maybe.
Like she's Medusa?
If it's any comfort, my children and Eddie don't have it yet, so.
okay.
good.
And it's been 4 days.
You did this on purpose so nobody would hug you at women's conference.
Oh, that's a good idea. I didn't even think about that.
No, look at you. Your face brightened. Your face brightened.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, well, I guess it worked. Speaking of that,
Just
women's
wave.
conference,
No one can shake my hand. Just wave.
people will still hug you. It's all right. Some people have
my.
iron constitutions, as they say. I'm not one of them.
Hope they have iron immune systems.
Well, those two, yeah.
Yeah.
But Saturday, it's today.
Yes.
Renew Women's Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow's Friday,
Tomorrow is Friday.
and then it's the
The
conference.
next day is Saturday.
And there are women in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania who have not purchased their tickets yet.
I know. It's craziness.
Speak to them, ladies. Kindly, of course, but motivate them. I mean, this is silliness now. Don't
yeah,
wait
you're
so
gonna
long.
miss. You're gonna miss it. It's literally a day away.
And maybe you thought you were going to have something else planned, like a friend coming in from out of town, and now you found out they've got a summer cold and they can't make it. Things like that come up. Well, if you suddenly have an opening in your day, Saturday, boom, jump on it. Text renew to 440-546-2255.
You tell them, Ron.
Or maybe
just
you're
did.
just, last minute I was going to say Larry,
Larry.
but probably
Lucy.
not that. Lucy, last minute Lucy, you know, you've done it. You did it. It's the last minute. Here we are.
It's time now.
Like if we had to remind you tomorrow, that would just be embarrassing. So today.
I'm not giving away any tickets. You've seen since Tuesday, no tickets have been given. And I'm not holding any. So.
Right. I mean, she's got a cold, so she's less likely to be generous.
Yeah,
she's
exactly.
a little crabby.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not crabby at all. Sorry.
That's okay. I am.
In a bright and shiny mood.
No.
And so you made it. Last minute, Lucy. Here we are. It's the last minute.
It's
You've
the last
arrived.
minute.
This is the time. So all you have to do is text the word renew to 440-546-2255. Text renew to 440-546-2255 to get your ticket. And then you'll see Lauren with cold. You'll see
With
Daria,
cold.
Lord willing, without cold. You'll see me with like a sanitizer in a holster,
Yes, that's good.
sitting as many people away from Lauren as possible. Ron will be there. Dana, his wife, will be there. Her sister. It's a family affair.
Robin is her sister.
Robin.
No Batman, just Robin.
You could have a lot of fun with that. You could wear like a Batman cape and be like, "Hey, everybody, this is
So
Robin. Just fill in the blank."
No.
Could you see
This
me
is why we
walking
don't
in?
want guys in the building.
Ron enjoyed that. Ron enjoyed that.
It's not his conference.
Some ladies like dad jokes. They get used to them. They become accustomed to them. You two just haven't been married long
There's a
enough.
difference between getting used to them and liking them.
You've been worn down so much. At some point, you just stop caring.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, you're the one who told Jimmy the stick joke.
I did not. That is slander.
Jimmy said it. Jimmy
Defamation.
said
Jimmy
that
doesn't know what he's talking about.
your husband Jimmy told you this awesome joke. What's brown and
Defamation.
sticky? A stick. And he's insisting that you told him. So it must be true. Jimmy's a smart guy.
He's also more forgetful than he realizes.
I thought I had you in a corner there. How could you? But I didn't. So, ladies, you could also go to moodyradio.org/Cleveland. Coming up in just a minute here, you know, most churches like to say things like, you know, we do things differently here. Here at this church, it's different. Now, here's the worship team performing songs, you know.
By Chris Tomlin.
Yeah. And it's good. It's good intention. You know, you don't have to do things differently. But some research was done by Relevant Magazine, and they found 5 churches that actually are doing something different. And I got the article, and I read it with a heavy measure of skepticism. Like, okay.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, I bet you do songs like after the sermon or something really different like that. Or maybe you don't meet, you meet in the basement, not in front of the sanctuary. No, these are legitimately churches doing things differently in a radical way. And I got excited.
Nice.
And we'll talk about these together in just a minute.
1959, Cuba.
This is the biggest demonstration in Cuba's history. Almost 1 million people are here. There is Fidel Castro, the leader.
Cuba then became a one-party, communist and atheist state.
When the revolution took over in 59, things becomes bad to the churches.
But today, this longtime Cuban pastor sees hope.
We really think that this is our time to reach our country. Now people are willing to listen to the gospel.
Cuba needs Jesus. Cuba needs you. You can be part of something really big. Join TWR in taking the good news of Jesus into Cuba every night by radio.
Radio waves can reach everywhere. Any Cuban could listen to the gospel.
Partner today with TWR. Go to CubaNeedsJesus.org.
Moody Radio is thankful for our listeners and partners like Rawhide Reasoning.
In theaters now, Reagan returns to office.
You can run from a bully for so long, but after a while, you're going to have to stand up to him. I am about to start the biggest war of this century.
You told me you wanted to make a difference in this world.
What would you have me do?
I want you to fight!
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Reagan, in theaters now, rated PG-13.
They say family knows you best. Here's Brian's older brother with a message for you.
At least my little brother was able to make a career out of talking non-stop.
It's Mornings with Brian.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
Jonathan McReynolds, 621. It's a mouthful for me. A little twinkling piano there at the end was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Jonathan. It's WCRF, and again, Saturday's the Renew Women's Conference. Text Renew to 440-546-2255. That's a couple of days there. Delaying Delilah. Get going. And by the way, we have another event coming soon here. Our friends at Key Ministry, Dr. Steve Gersovich, he's amazing. They're doing a mental health and the church conference. People from all over the country are coming to speak to this thing and attend it. Kay Warren and her whole team are coming.
Oh,
Kay,
wow.
As in wife of Rick Warren.
Yeah. The Purpose-Driven Life.
Yes. And she is a big advocate for mental health. And she's coming to speak. And they want to help ministry organizations serve the mental health community better. And people in your congregation who are struggling with their mental health. They want you to serve them better. Guess what? That's every church. This impacts every church. You want to check this out? We'll be there. We'll broadcast live on the Friday of it. It's September 26th and 27th at Bay Presbyterian Church in Bay Village. For more information, text KEY to 440-546-2255. Text KEY to 440-546-2255. Can't wait to see you there. So churches claim to do things differently. Like all of us at all of our churches, we're like, look, we're different here. You should come here. And you should. And we do a little different. But there are churches out there doing stuff way different. The first one is going to knock your socks off.
All right. That'll take my shoes with them.
Hang on to your socks. Ron, hang on.
Okay.
The altar.
Put suspenders on them.
They used to do that.
I know.
Before like really good elastic or whatever. Businessmen would have those funny little suspenders for their socks. So we should bring those back.
It'd be fun.
No, it wouldn't. The Altar Fellowship in Johnson City, Tennessee. So the pastor of that church years ago, when he was a kid, his dad died of cancer, tragically, super sad. And a local businessman, just out of the goodness of his heart, bought Christmas presents for the kids, for his family. And he never forgot this.
Nice.
Because they were just crippled with medical debt from his dad's cancer treatment. And so he led the church, and the church bought into the idea of what if we started paying off medical debt of people in our community, in our church and our community? And they loved the idea, and they got into it. They have now paid off approximately, grab the socks, Ron, $8 million worth of medical debt.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
$8 million.
That is impressive.
Over 3,921 families across several counties have had their medical debt totally paid off by this church.
It's incredible.
What?
Is it just people in their community, like their church, or it's anyone in their like community?
Now, the goal was the community and surrounding counties. They worked with a debt relief organization to find people and pay off their debt. And what they discovered in the process was some of the people were actually in their congregation. But how many people in your church walk around going, "Hey, Lauren, nice to meet you. I'm Carlos, and I have, $500,000 in medical debt." No one says that.
Right.
So, but they found out they were helping their own church in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't this incredible?
That's tremendous. I hear that. I don't remember the name of the organization, but they pop up, all around the country. They work with different churches doing that. But I don't know of any church that has reached the $8 million mark in paying off debts.
And then I started to think, well, that's really nice, but okay, church, medical debt. What's going on here? Does that connect theologically? Well, they have two proofs, if we're in geometry, for this. The first one, the pastor says, we believe that Jesus paid our debt when we didn't deserve it. So we are literally paying people's debt when they don't deserve it. Okay, well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That sounds like the gospel. And then Matthew 10, he said inspired it. It's like, I don't remember that part. I don't think there's medical debt in the New Testament or Old. So Matthew 10, if you get to the passage, it's when Jesus sends out the 12.
Okay.
These 12 Jesus sent out with the following instructions. Do not go among the Gentiles or enter any towns of the Samaritans. Go rather to the lost sheep of Israel. As you go, proclaim this message. The kingdom of heaven has come near. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse those who have leprosy, drive out demons. Freely you have received, freely give. That's what they emphasize. Lauren's nodding. You're a resident theologian. You feel good about that. Freely you've received, freely give.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Like you were generously given.
So you need to be generous with serving, giving, providing for other people.
I can hear church people going, oh, well, what about the gospel? Shouldn't you give them the gospel, have them agree to it, get baptized, and then pay off their medical debt? You know Christians will say that.
Yes, they will.
And I understand their heart on this. A lot of people are like, listen, you can help people, but it ought to be gospel first, then help.
For so many people, their medical debt or their food needs or their housing needs is so front of mind, they can't even get to something like the gospel yet. Because they're so, like, they cannot eat today or they cannot pay their bills today. So some spiritual reality is really hard for them to grasp. So how about we care for their needs, and because we have such overwhelming generosity, then we can say, yeah, I have that generosity, not because of me, but because of Christ and what he did for me.
Yeah, you're showing them the gospel in action. I mean, what reason do they have to believe that there's a good God if they don't see his people doing good?
Right, but I've still had this debate. I remember a gal I used to work with at Moody in Chicago. We passed the same homeless person sleeping in a shelter in the winter, in a bus shelter, and I was like, oh, man, I feel bad. I should have pulled over and gave that guy my sandwich. And she was like, should have given the gospel. I was like, yeah, but I think a sandwich first would be good. No, he needs the gospel, Brian. He needs the gospel before he needs a sandwich. Well,
if he dies of starvation first, then what happens? And he's
and people act like the gospel is only like, okay, walking them through like, the confession of sin and admitting that Jesus is Lord. Like that, the gospel is more than just that. Like we are evidence of the gospel.
That's right.
It's not loving to let someone go hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then somebody else could go, well, okay, $8 million, that's a lot of money. I mean, we have a building project we needed a new, like we have more people coming here, so we need a bigger sanctuary. We need new carpet.
What did that Matthew 10 passage say? Go and do what?
Let me get it.
Before the freely part.
Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse those who have leprosy, drive out demons.
Mm-hmm. That's caring for their physical needs first.
We need a new sound system at the church, though. Like $8 million, that could be a really good sound system, and then we'd have a few mil left to give out.
You don't need a new sound system. It already hurts my ears, so.
I mean, this one, it's radical.
Yeah, I love that they're not thinking about their own needs, but thinking of those needs of others. And people in a medical debt situation, sometimes it's not all that bad, and you'll be able to catch up to it. Sometimes it is so overwhelming, you may even be thinking of suicide, because at least if you can hide it well enough, your insurance will pay off your descendants, and you won't be leaving them with this crippling debt. So you're taking that level of stress away from someone in the name of Jesus. That makes a world of difference. They're going to, they'll know we are Christians by our love one to another. This is showing them love. Telling them the Romans road or the 4 spiritual laws will not change their life if you're letting them languish in the pain of this debt. But you showing them that you love them in a real and tangible way, their hearts will be open. Let me know more about this Jesus you follow.
Yeah, I mean, the odds of someone showing up at your church, if you pay off their medical debt, pretty high.
Yeah.
Pretty high. I mean,
even if they do it just as a start to as a thank you, to because they feel like they need to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then they'll be exposed and see what happens at church and be exposed to the gospel.
So how do you give it, though? I mean, I'm assuming they would do something like, hey, Johnson family, surprise, we're going to pay off your medical debt. We want you to know we're doing this because we received an incredible, immeasurable gift from the Lord when he died for our sins.
Yeah.
And we want to demonstrate that to our community by giving this to you. God bless you.
Yeah.
Right, you do something like that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Anything more needed?
No.
You could give them just a very loose invite, but the forefront needs to be, this is what we're doing out of the generosity of our hearts because of what Jesus has demonstrated for us, because then they're going to feel like there's strings attached.
Yeah.
And there's something kind of cool about this church picking one thing. You know, like a lot of churches like, oh, we're going to have a soup kitchen. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this, that, this, that, this, that. This church is like, no, we're going to do one thing and we're going to do it big. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't even get past this one. There's a couple other churches I want to highlight that are really doing things differently in an inspiring way. It's making a difference for their communities. We'll get to a couple more of those here in just a minute.
There's nothing so obvious as the fact that this world is not the way it should be. We weren't created to get cancer and die. We weren't created to have marriages that break. That's not what we were created for. I'm Darcy Harrod, and this is Pause for Prayer. That was a quote from singer-songwriter Michael Card, and he's put into words what I believe we've all felt at one time or another in this life. This isn't the way it's supposed to be, and this isn't what God intended. Let's pause for prayer. Father, your word states that when sin entered into this world, things changed. This was never your original intention. Isaiah 24, 5-6 says, "The earth is defiled by its people. They have disobeyed the laws, violated the statutes, and broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore, a curse consumes the earth. Its people must bear their guilt." Lord, we feel this curse. But Father, I know that it won't be this way forever. You told us it wouldn't. Your love and grace is greater than our pain, and we have a future to look forward to where all things will be made new. You told us in Revelation 21, 3-4, "And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away.' Father, help us hold on to the promise that through Jesus Christ, the way things are now is not the way they'll always be. Thank you, Lord, for that truth. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 877-58-BIBLE. That's 877-58-BIBLE. 877-58-BIBLE.
Get up, get ready, and get going. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
Mandisa 638 on WCRF Mornings with Brian. Today's Thursday, so Dave Szfranski will answer your financial questions from 8 to 9. There'll be lots of fun. You can text in those questions early, 440-546-2255. And wait, so today's when Dave comes in, so that means tomorrow's follow-up Friday.
Yes, Kelly will be here.
Kelly
who you hear in the afternoons on this radio station.
Kelly Ryder, so that means tomorrow's Friday. So if tomorrow's Friday, then Saturday is Renew.
Yeah.
But,
you can't even count Saturday. You can only count Friday.
Because it's the morning.
Exactly.
So really, you have less than 48 hours.
Yes.
To get your ticket.
Yes.
I hope you're panicked if you haven't bought your Renew Women's Conference ticket. I hope you are. Sorry, I mean, it sounds mean, but like you should panic. It's soon. It's
Got
less
to
than
order
48
Panera,
hours.
guys.
Yeah, we need to have enough Sammies, as you call them, or
Yes.
sandwiches, as the older folks would call them, and salads. Panera being served. Dr. Julie Slattery
Looking forward to a
speaking.
salad.
You're gonna go salad.
I don't know. I don't know what the options are. We'll have to see.
Do Ron and I
Unless
get
they
to
have my
pick?
favorite sandwich there, obviously.
I think they're doing a pick 2 box with a salad and turkey sandwich, and then we have a vegetarian sandwich option, and then there's the gluten-free one, which is just a salad.
Is it a sandwich if it's vegetarian? That's an existential question.
Yes, there's
Yeah.
no meat in it. It's still vegetarian.
Sandwiches have
An
meat.
eggplant sandwich. A mushroom sandwich.
Sandwiches have meat.
Tomato
no,
sandwich.
not necessarily. It's bread with fillings.
Is grilled cheese a sandwich?
No.
Got him.
Oh.
Yes, it is.
What is
and
it
you know
then?
it is. Yes, it is, and
It's
you
a,
know it
it's
is.
a grilled cheese. It's different.
You know it
Grilled
is.
cheese sandwich.
No, it's cheese. It's grilled cheese. It's just
Yeah,
there's
that's
no.
just
A grilled cheese sandwich.
That's just shorthand.
A grilled cheese sandwich.
You got me right in the corner.
Yeah, I did. Got him so good.
Good sandwiches have meat.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that.
Thank you. Finally, got it right. Okay, but all that to say that we'll have various
We
types
won't
of
have grilled
sandwiches.
cheese.
There'll be no
A
grilled cheese.
station.
Dr. Julie Slattery, Glenna Marshall, Taylor James, that girl, Lauren and Daria will be there, along with Kelly Ryder. I'll be there, so will Ron. They'll make me sit in the corner, even though nobody puts Brian in a corner. Lauren will.
Yes, she
put
will.
Brian in a corner, and
She's allowed.
Yeah.
I'm going to eventually come dancing down the aisle like Dirty Dancing.
And Dirty Dancing.
Someone will lift me up in the air.
You and Ron.
Ron will lift me in the air in the grand finale.
No, thank you.
And you can do that jump off the stage like
Yes.
Patrick Swayze
Hey, you'll catch
does.
me. Yeah.
I can try. I probably could catch you. You're not that heavy.
I'm not that big. It's fine. It'll be so fun. All that happening on Saturday at Renew Women's Conference. Get your ticket. Text Renew to 440-546-2255. Text Renew to 440-546-2255. Relevant Magazine acknowledged that, a lot of churches say they do things differently and then really don't all that much. It's like, oh, we don't serve donuts. We serve apple fritters. Not quite a donut. But in this case, they found a bunch of churches doing things real different. Before the break, we talked about a church paid off $8 million in medical debt for their community. Whoa. Next one is NACO Christian Church in sort of Arizona.
Sort
How's it sort of?
I'll explain. So they have an early morning service in NACO, Arizona on Sundays. And then in the afternoon, they make their way across the border, which is just a few blocks away, to NACO, Mexico. And they have a service there. Their church literally has one campus in America, one campus in Mexico. And they specifically are a lifeline between children and parents who've been separated because of deportation at the southern border. And they minister on both sides. The pastor and his wife, one of them is Mexican, one of them is American. In nationality, not, I'm not speaking of her
citizenship.
Yeah. So, whoa, wait a minute. Somebody's going, uh-oh, illegal immigration. Why are they ministering to someone who broke the law? You guys, their parents broke the law and got deported. How could they do this with lawbreakers?
It's interesting. They broke the law and they have received their just desserts. They're back in Mexico. So no big deal. To minister to them is fine. I'm just trying to picture how many of the church members, if you've got 100 that go across the border every Sunday afternoon, the logistics of that. Do they do they already know these people are going over, or is it not a checkpoint area where you can just freely?
There must be a checkpoint in NACO. There must be. I don't know for certain, but 2 towns named NACO, one on each side of the border.
Yeah.
No, wait, Ron, aren't you a lawbreaker?
I believe I am.
Ron, you're on the radio. What are you saying? Oh, spiritually speaking. Is that what you mean?
Well, I've probably
I
broken.
broke the actual law last week speeding.
Yeah.
So
You did get a speeding
I
ticket.
did, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
you naughty Christian
got
girl.
a few of those.
Repent. So you are a literal American lawbreaker, Lauren,
Yes.
and you're a spiritual lawbreaker.
Yes.
But you went to Moody. What do you mean you're a spiritual lawbreaker?
I mean, whether it's on purpose or not on purpose, we sin all the time in our hearts, in our minds, and in our actions. And so I'm kind of like, he who is without sin cast the first stone. I don't know.
Whoa. Good quote. That's Jesus, by the way, if you
Yeah.
don't know, said that. So nobody should be mad about,
Why are you
someone's
yeah, why-
immigration status at the church.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you should encourage people to follow laws.
Yes.
But ministering to people on one side of the border and the other,
It's fine.
it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so.
It's pretty unique,
There are people who are destitute a lot of the time.
especially right at the border.
Yes, they need Jesus too.
And not every church can do that, but because of their location, that fits them perfectly.
It's a lot of work.
And just like the other one, the other church, they're picking one thing that they're doing, that they're spending their ministry focusing on.
Like their one thing is ministering cross-culturally,
Yes.
literally across a border.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I think it's cool, especially since they have this lifeline of kids on the American side and their
Yeah.
parents who were deported back to Mexico on the Mexican side. They're a lifeline between the two of communication, care. Super cool. Another church doing something different. Impact Church in Atlanta, Georgia. They're honestly primarily focused on the days between Sundays. Sundays, they have their thing. But this church is all about the days between. They've turned their church kind of into a community center of sorts. All throughout the week, they're giving classes for their congregation and the community. Anything from Bible studies to financial responsibility, dating classes, estate planning. They have a new building going up that's going to have hygiene centers for Atlanta's homeless.
Oh, nice.
Which hygiene center? It's like bathroom, showers, things like that. After school program for area youth. They even have office space that they either rent out or allow to use for business startups to get their feet on the ground.
That's helpful.
And get going. They have a community garden, and they're even going to do like programming and coding classes at the church.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I mean, only one of those things was about Jesus. The Bible studies.
Early believers did life together. They spent a lot of time together, helping each other, learning from one another, teaching one another. This, to me, is a picture of what we're supposed to be. We're, as an American society, we're very isolationist. But community is beautiful. It's what we should be doing.
I mean, the reason that we long for community so much and that there's such horrific effects of loneliness and being isolated is because we're made in the image of God, and God himself is a community.
In the Trinity.
In the Trinity. He's 3 persons in one. He is a community within himself. We're made in his image. Therefore, we need community. We have to have it to thrive. Otherwise, you're going to have things like depression and loneliness and isolation. And we can't live like that. And so for a church to do these things, I think it's very much in line with the Christian life.
And yet, I guess what's normative for churches, right, is to do things for ourselves.
And that's wrong.
Partially, right? I mean,
What do you mean?
It's not
What do you mean
bad.
do things for ourselves then?
Well, it's not bad to have worship for our congregation. It's not bad to have like
But that's about
a benevolence
But
fund
that's
for
about the community.
right.
A worship service is not an individualistic thing. A worship service is so that you can praise, sing, hear the word, take communion together as a community.
So then, if these churches are doing something right, are you trying to say that a lot of churches are doing something wrong, Lauren?
Yeah, if you're not building a community, yeah.
We are building community among ourselves, our congregation. Be a member, be a part of it.
Yeah, be a part of it and do things, not just walk into a service, sit down, speak to no one, and leave.
Yeah, there's something about community outreach that connects all these churches they highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
Like they want to make a difference in their local community.
Right.
Yeah.
To those who are outside the body of Christ.
Yes, that's what connects them.
Yeah.
And I feel this should be something every church is doing, I think.
Find your thing. Find the thing that works for your church.
Mm-hmm.
It could be small and simple,
Mm-hmm.
but whatever it is, it ought to make the community go, those people care about us.
Exactly.
Those people in that church, they care about us. And maybe they'll come visit. All right, it's 6:49, time for a quick break. Maybe we'll cover a few more of these tomorrow on Friday. Renew Saturday, tomorrow's Friday. And when we come back from this break, my favorite. We're in show business. That means we're in business. So we're going to give business advice with no authority whatsoever in a segment called Pretend Experts.
Moody Radio is thankful for listeners and support from businesses like Duma Meats and Farm Market. Duma Meats and Farm Market, supporting Moody Radio in Cleveland and surrounding areas. More information about Duma Meats and Farm Market is at dumameats.com.
Counseling. It's what God created you to do. When you earn your Master of Arts in Clinical Mental Health Counseling from Moody Bible Institute, you'll be equipped to help others become who God created them to be. Study at Moody's Chicago or Michigan campus, where you can secure certificates in the areas of marriage, family, and couples counseling, as well as trauma-informed counseling. Learn more and get started on your counseling career today. Go to moody.edu/counseling.
Shame. The enemy uses it to keep God's daughters isolated, distant, and feeling unworthy. Meet Moody Publishers' newest author, Morgan Kruger. She has experienced this and wants to link arms with you, owning your beautiful identity as a daughter of God. Morgan lifts the burden of cultural lies and replaces them with truth and freedom in Christ. From author Morgan Kruger, Goodbye Hiding, Hello Freedom. Buy it now at moodybooks.org.
Keeping your eyes on Jesus in a changing culture can be difficult. Let us help. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio, Cleveland.
They look at business decisions and impose their positions. Without a doubt, they know what they're talking about. It's time for Pretend Experts.
I forgot that part. First one comes from, Austin, Minnesota. Birthplace of Hormel /spam.
Oh.
They're teaming up with General Mills.
The cereal?
Yeah.
What are they going to make, a Cinnamon Toast Crunch Spam?
Oh, that sounds delicious.
No, it doesn't.
For a Spam cereal.
Ooh.
Oh, that... Yeah, I'm a little concerned.
Ooh.
No, you're not right. But they're going to create a new twist on breakfast.
Breakfast has enough twists as it is.
The company announced this week that it plans to sell Cinnamon Toast Crunch Bacon beginning on September 16th.
That's literally what I just said.
You
No,
said
you
Cinnamon Toast Crunch Spam.
Basically the same thing.
No, it's not the same thing.
Yes, basically it's the same thing.
It's bacon and Spam are related in that they're both pork-based. But
Yes.
bacon and Spam are different things.
Okay, but you could give me a little bit of credit that I guessed it out of the gate, and you didn't even say anything. You acted like I got
Wow.
it completely wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch Bacon.
Wow.
It combines the cinnamon coating from Cinnamon Toast Crunch
Oh.
with Hormel's Black Label Bacon, which is fancy bacon, by the way. The product will be sold at select Walmart and Kroger stores. So we'll be able to buy it like in a week or two.
I'm not going to lie, this sounds kind of good, but I'm really sick of like the Cinnamon Toast whatever topping
Dust.
obsession. It's on everything.
Cinnamon Toast dust.
My kids are all about cinnamon sugar on toast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a delicacy when you're a kid.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to go home and make some of that. Sounds good.
And I've had, there are restaurants here. There's one restaurant in Northeast Ohio that does pecan crusted bacon that has crushed up pecans and cinnamon and sugar and...
That's too much.
No, not too much.
No, the texture is going to throw me with that.
I've done maple
Correct them,
bacon.
Maple bacon is good.
Yeah, I don't know about the pecans on it. But
That's what's throwing me, yeah.
yeah, the
I've
rest is
done
good.
Chocolate covered bacon.
I mean, you could put dirt on bacon and it would taste good.
That's probably true.
I mean, come on. So, wow. So the ladies are against Cinnamon Toast
I'll
Crunch
try
bacon.
it. It's not the worst
I
idea
mean,
we've
Jimmy
heard.
and I do like a cinnamon ham on Christmas, so it's not that different.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay, Ron. I'm assuming you like this.
Oh, I love it.
If it, first person to find it brings it in.
Wait, who's gonna cook it though? Well, we have a skillet
Yeah.
here.
First person to find it brings it in.
I nominate our station manager to make us bacon, cinnamon toast bacon.
He's
not
here way
so
too
he
late.
Can't protest.
Yeah, he's not listening.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next one. Stop and Shop. Ever heard of that?
No.
It's like a
gas station.
It's a supermarket
Oh, okay.
chain, apparently. They've decided to stop selling cigarettes and other tobacco products in
Oh, nice.
all 360 stores at the end of this month.
Wow.
It's part of a commitment for community wellness. They have a whole bunch of stores in Massachusetts, but they're in Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, and New York.
Wow, good for them.
They're going to lose a lot of money on
I know,
that
I was just
deal.
thinking that.
CVS did that a number of years ago. They just sell the smoking cessation stuff now.
Oh.
What's that?
It's like the patches and the
Nicotine
gum.
patches and stuff.
That's stuff to help you quit.
Oh. So what do you think of this?
It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's sacrificing their own best interest for the interest of society as a whole.
No,
Yeah, we're seeing an uptick too of younger people picking up
Yeah.
cigarettes for the first time in decades.
I think
So
it's an aesthetic.
Yeah, so I think that's a good idea.
No, I mean, not to be that guy, but I am almost every day. So it's not going to stop people from smoking in any sense.
No, but they're taking a stand
They'll
for
go
something.
next door and get tobacco.
Yeah, but but it's on their conscience that they're not selling it.
Right.
It's not coming from their stores.
Okay. Just checking if you had an argument for
They,
that.
they can't control everybody.
No,
But
I
they
mean,
can
there's
control
always going to be
themselves.
tobacco shops, but
Yeah.
I think it's fine if a supermarket that sells that they're supposed to be family friendly doesn't want to sell that.
It'd be sneaky if they were selling vapes now instead.
Well,
I don't think they are. That's the problem these days with the kids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Vaping in the bathroom is what the kids do. It's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. Kids, just say no. Nancy Reagan told us that many years ago, and she was right. Just say no.
You know what's nice to breathe in? Air.
Yeah, you're
That's all
right.
you need.
So there's a new burger coming to the U.S. soon via McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
is it the chicken Big Mac?
No, I've heard of this.
Oh, okay.
And I'm kind of excited about it. I don't get Big Macs because
No,
there's
it's
too much bun in there.
Too much going on.
Like that center bun. I don't want that there.
Just take it out.
Then it's not a Big Mac, Daria.
Big Mac.
Well, then leave it in.
No, but you don't understand. Like it's the handle for the meat is what the bread is. We don't want more bread in our burger. We want
people
more
do.
meat. No, people don't. Smart
No, that's
people
why they
don't.
get Big Macs because
Smart
they
people
do
don't.
want that.
Okay, anyway, you're wrong about that. This one's going to be called the Big Arch.
Oh, okay.
The Big Arch.
What is it?
Be good at Moody Campus.
It's their biggest burger ever. It includes 2 quarter-pounder beef patties,
Wow.
So a half pound of beef.
3 slices of cheese,
Oh, goodness.
crispy onions, pickles, lettuce, and a new tangy sauce.
If you have high cholesterol, skip it.
Weighing in at 1,030 calories.
My stomach's already churning just thinking about it. That's a heart attack on a bun.
1,030 calories?
Yes, it's the Big Arch. It's not the Arch. It's the Big Arch.
They're trying to compete with like steakhouse burgers is what they're doing.
You remember Hardee's when there was a whole thing
Oh,
about,
my goodness.
we can't do the supersize anymore. Hardee's was like, you guys can change. We're going to go bigger. Do you want a 5 patty? You've seen this at Hardee's.
Yeah.
Hardee's is all in on stuff like this.
Yeah, the supersize me guy. Oh, my gosh.
The Big Arch.
We already have a health
Half of
crisis
your
in this
calories
country.
for the day.
Right now, it's oddly in Canada and Portugal.
Oh,
I mean, naturally, those two go together. When I think Portugal, I think
Canada.
Hey there, how's your house?
Wow. No,
And
I
yeah,
don't think so.
I don't like it.
The
You
Big
don't
Mac
like
is
it?
enough. You don't need that, too.
Sounds like they took out the center bun.
It's perfect
They
for you
might
then.
I don't remember the contents exactly.
I like
so-
the idea. I mean, why not?
You're not going to eat that.
If I only have
you could
time-
barely eat a McChicken, please.
If I only have time for one meal, why not do this? You get all your calories for the day.
They're not good
They're not- yeah,
calories,
no,
though.
they're not healthy
Like, you're
calories.
still going to be hungry later because processed food makes you hungrier.
You're hungry later.
Listen, I love fries and a McChicken, okay? But that is absurd.
Half a pound of
You're
meat
absurd.
in one sitting?
Why are
Who
you being
needs that?
so some type of way? Chill out. This is not your idea.
It's subjective.
Yeah, so why are you getting mad at us?
I like it.
Okay, I'm glad for you.
Good.
goodness. Chill,
Ron,
dude.
what do you think? What do you think?
A few years ago, I would have loved it. All that meat, but
we won't tell Dana.
Problem is,
We could
my
split it 4
doctor will
ways.
find out.
We won't
He'll
tell your
see it
doctor.
in your. He'll see it in your stomach.
Yeah, the blood test will
We'll sit there for
show
12
the
weeks.
evidence.
The blood test
Have
looks
to put
like
off,
you've had
put off your appointments.
You've had a big arch here, Ron. The blood test came back.
You can split it 4 ways.
Yeah, you can have
Yeah.
half.
I think it's a good idea for them because there's a market for that. Not people who restrict themselves to 2,000 calories a day, but yeah, Michael Phelps might have been a perfect candidate where he would eat
He eats a bajillion calories.
crazy amounts of food. He could have had a couple big arches and then jumped in the pool.
Carbo load. Isn't that what they do?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, they do.
Michael Scott did that. I know.
And swimming apparently is like so intense.
Oh, it's really, really hard.
'Cause it's your whole body.
Okay, side tangent.
Swimming.
Professional swimmers
Yeah.
in the Olympics.
Yes.
They turn their head to the side to
To
breathe.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they get a mouthful of water.
And they just turn it just enough.
How do they do that? Have you ever tried this?
No, of course not. I'm not swimming like
It's
that.
the right way to swim. I've tried it. Can't
The
figure
right
out.
way to swim when you're doing laps. If you're just like,
Well, no, but if you
floofing
want
around
to
the pool, you're not doing
proper technique for
that.
those
I'm not swimming like that.
for the front crawl.
The Australian crawl. Yeah.
What is it called?
Breaststroke?
Well, there you go. I don't know.
No, that's this one.
Yeah. Or the butterfly. Yeah.
What? I don't
It's
know.
the,
I'm not a swimmer. I'm never going to be trying to swim laps. That is just not for me.
But they do the whole, like, my face is in the water while I'm going
Yeah, they
like
have to
100 miles
breathe.
an hour. You go sideways. Ron, have you tried it?
Yeah.
You can do it?
Of course.
How do you do it? Do you do like a...
You turn your head so it's no longer, your mouth is no longer at water level. It is above water
You just suck in air from the corner of your mouth.
I think you're just not turning your head far enough.
Yeah.
Well, how far? What am I, an owl?
You don't have to turn it that far to get out of the water.
Because when your left arm is forward, your shoulders are shifted back. So it's not turning your head all that far.
Lauren can't do it either.
Why are you coming for me? Yeah, I've already said I'm not going to try. Couldn't do it. Don't want to do it.
Swimmers are amazing.
They are.
And they will love the big arch.
Yes. That's one of their meals for them.
It's all come for full circle. Freestyle is what it's called. Thank you, Carrie.
Front crawl.
It feels like you're... I'm an expert at the doggy paddle.
Me too.
Can tread water like
Oh,
nobody's
yeah.
business.
Get them legs going underwater like you're walking.
I can kind of do a backstroke.
That's good.
I just kind of lay on my back and kick a lot, and then occasionally flick my arm back. I can do that one. All right, it's 7:01. Time for Ron's news and today's moron moment. When we come back, I think I have this right. Oh no, he's back. Roy from Galvanized.
Oh wow.
He'll give me a hard time, guaranteed, out of the gate. He's got something ready this moment, and then he's going to talk a bit about winging it and recovery. Huh? I don't know. We'll see.
Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland, WCRF Cleveland, WVMS Sandusky, WVML Millersburg, WVMN Newcastle, WVME Meadville, WVMU Ashtabula, and everywhere with the Moody Radio app or at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
The 14-year-old suspect in a deadly shooting in Georgia was investigated over similar threats last year. It's 7:02. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. The student killed 4 people and injured 9 others at Appalachia High School in Georgia yesterday morning. Federal officials have revealed that suspect made online threats to commit a school shooting back in May of 2023. A study by Money is revealing which Ohio colleges and universities are the most affordable. The most affordable school in the state was listed as Kent State University, followed by The Ohio State University and the University of Cincinnati. With the winter months ahead, PennDOT has positions available as part of their winter maintenance program in Lawrence County. A job fair will be held today from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. at the Lawrence County Maintenance Building on Wilmington Road in Newcastle. I'll be right back with sports and weather.
Do you ever feel more like roommates than soulmates?
He never, ever cleans up after himself.
I didn't feel like I had a say.
We just kept butting heads. Family Life's Weekend to Remember is a weekend to get away, get refreshed, and reflect on what matters most.
It really opened my eyes to how great marriage could be.
Attend a Weekend to Remember.
Amen.
It's a must.
Register by September 16th and save 50% on all weekends at weekendtoremember.com.
In sports, the Guardians lost to the Royals 4-1, and the Cubs no-hit the Pirates 12-0. Here's your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Sunny skies with highs in the mid-80s. At last check, clear skies, 57 degrees now in Cleveland, Akron and Canton, 55. Ashtabula checks in at 57.
It's time for your moron moment.
Do you have old electronics lying around? Costco's revamped trade-in program lets you swap them for a store gift card, and no membership is needed. Go to their online portal for a quote. If you're cool with the offer they make, then the shipping's free and you'll have your money in under 3 weeks. P.S. Amazon has a trade-in program too, so compare both to see which gives you the better price. And that's your Moron Moment. And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It's 7:04 with Moody Radio News. I'm Ron Eastwood.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
Good morning. It's 7:08. Dave Szfranski will be here in an hour to answer your financial questions. 440-546-2255. Lauren's back. She was feeling sick yesterday and
I still am.
harassed me by text.
I was
You
in my
deserved it.
office here at the station, just not here on the air.
Mm-hmm. But you sound great.
I harassed you because it's my actual job. Like, I'm the producer of the show, so I have to be listening to what you're doing.
Oh, okay.
I thought her actual job was harassing. I was going to say amen.
That too.
By the way, Renew is Saturday. Renew Women's Conference, Canton Baptist Temple, Dr. Julie Slattery. Come on, get there. Text Renew to 440-546-2255. And who is that mysterious voice? Roy, facilitator of Galvanized, a men's recovery ministry at Grace Church in Middleburg Heights.
Good morning.
Hey.
Good morning. Good morning.
Let me have it, bro. I'm ready for it.
So you introduced that.
I know.
And I'm like,
Just don't
I don't harass him. And then I was like, did he just say that we're going to talk about winging it? And I'm
Roy,
like,
do
I
not
have to
even get me
completely harass-
started. It's so embarrassing.
The
for
one
him.
time he reads the paper.
For him and for me, it's so embarrassing.
Explain to those who are not
Roy
initiated.
told me, tell Brian we're going to wing it tomorrow. And he said, okay. I write. Roy says, yes. I wrote on our sheet, Roy says we're going to wing it.
I was very busy leading us through Pretend Experts.
Unbelievable.
Grab
So
my paper,
embarrassing.
look at it. It says topic. Roy says we're winging it. So I was like, we're going to wing it.
That's not the topic. It says
We're
Roy says
talking
we
about
are.
Winging it.
No, that would have said topic, winging it in recovery.
Because I
which
would guess,
doesn't make sense
because
in
yeah,
recovery.
I'm guessing in recovery you don't want to wing it.
No, maybe that's what we should talk about. How
Is
we
that right?
shouldn't be winging it.
Am I right?
Oh my gosh.
So I will apologize for being poorly prepared.
Me too.
Unfortunately, on a less humorous note, my wife's father had a very serious heart attack 2 days ago.
Oh, no, Roy.
We've been in the hospital 24 hours a day for quite a while. So I'm standing there. It's like midnight last night. And I stand and I for whatever reason, I look at my phone and I'm like, I have to be on Moody at 7 a.m. I don't have any topic or anything. So I email Laura. I'm like, hey, let's talk about time because it's a pretty important factor in recovery. And we're just going to wing it. And then, so now I have to wing it and come up with a topic on wing it if we go that route.
First of all, though, how's your father-in-law doing? Is he okay?
No, he's not good. He's on. They're on comfort care at this point. So.
Oh, Roy, I'm so
So
sorry,
we're just
brother.
praying for my wife and her family that he just goes to heaven quickly and just passes through. So.
Well, we would ask
you know,
our listening family to include your family in their prayers as well, and your
that would be
father-in-law.
very kind of you.
Yeah,
that would be very kind of you.
Okay.
But the topic that I wrote down is time because it was interesting. So this 3 years ago, my brother-in-law died. It was real tragic. He was young. He was almost just under 50 years old, excellent health. At his funeral, my father gets COVID. He decides he's going to come to the funeral, gets COVID, ends up on a ventilator, and he dies about 50 days after the funeral. It was a really tragic time. Yeah. And so then here, I find myself sitting in the hospital last night, and I'm looking at my father-in-law. I just made this like a horrible morning show.
No,
I'm sorry.
No. This is okay.
But as I'm sitting there, I'm realizing how important time is, particularly in recovery. Okay. Now, I look at this as two facets. And again, remember, we're winging it today. So the first half of this is what you do with your time. And the second part I was thinking about is like doing it now. So on the first half of the commercial break and on the first half of this, there's like three factors that came to my mind this morning. The first thing is, people in recovery when you're in the midst of addiction, you're inherently selfish. Even if you don't mean to be, you're selfish. You're selfish with your money. You're selfish with your time. You're selfish with a lot of things. So three things that when you get into recovery with time that I think are important to show people that you're selfless, right? When we start to love our neighbor, like if we're doing what Jesus commands us in Matthew, right? I think it's in like Matthew 24 or something like that. It says, love your God with all your heart, your mind, your soul, love your neighbor as yourself, right? And so if I'm going to love somebody else, the first thing, being on time requires no skill. You don't have to be, Mensa. You don't have to be so smart that you can. It really requires no skill to be on time. And being on time, what that does to the other person is it inherently shows them that you respect their time. So people in active addiction are generally not dependent upon to be there on time. People say things like, well, I didn't tell such and such you were coming to his graduation because normally you don't show up, and I didn't want to let him down, right? That kind of comment would be pretty common in recovery. So time is very important in recovery. First thing I would say is be on time. Like, communicate your time. You're like, oh, hey, Brian, I know the show is at 8 o'clock. I'm running 15 minutes behind. I don't call you at 8:01 and say, hey, I'm going to be 15 minutes late. I should call you at like 7:49 or 7:45 as soon as I realize, hey, I'm not going to make it on time, right? Because what I'm doing is I'm showing you that I respect you. And people in recovery have a tendency, when they're fresh into recovery, or people in addiction have a tendency to not respect other people's time, right?
Right.
I remember sitting, like, I knew I was supposed to be somewhere, but I was at this guy's house, and the guy that was bringing stuff over that we were waiting to buy was running late. Running late is an operative term. Generally, people that deal drugs don't really care about time because it's a product that sells itself, right? You don't really have to advertise. The audience will wait for the store to open forever, right? You just sit there and wait, hey, they don't even call. You just sit there and wait and wait and wait. And I remember hours going by, but I couldn't leave because I had to wait because the guy was coming. And just foregoing all these other commitments in my life, whether it be children at home that were waiting for you to help put them to sleep or do homework or someplace you're supposed to be. We have a tendency in addiction and active addiction to ignore time. So just showing the world that we've changed, telling the world that you've changed means nothing, right? Showing the world that you've changed is extremely important in recovery. So I do like to talk about time with people because communicate that you're going to be late, be on time, and then the last part of that is be realistic. And I think these three things can apply to all of the listeners, right? Be realistic. If you go to Google or whatever you use, but if you go to like the Drive app, whatever, you put in, Bar Road, blah, 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 and it says it's going to be 31 minutes, and you're supposed to go on the air at 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever time you crazy people get there, right? Let's say it says 5 a.m. you're supposed to be at the radio station, and you look and it says it's going to take 29 minutes. So you think, I'll leave it 4:30, right? Because I'll be there in 29 minutes. I'll have a minute to spare. Well, that's not realistic, right? You haven't left yourself any room for error. You got to the car and you go, I forgot my phone charger. You run back in the house and grab it. By the time you get out to the car, you've got a minute and a half on your journey, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go, oh man, I need gas. And Bar Road, there's no gas stations by the Moody radio station, so I better get gas in Brecksville or whatever, you know what I mean? And now you add 5 more minutes to your schedule. So being realistic, communicating where you're at in your world, and being on time is the first half of the recovery conversation about time, and that's just the selfless part. And then we'll come and we'll touch base on the other side of this, which is taking advantage of the time now.
Sounds good. That's again Roy from Galvanized.
Should we pause for a commercial break?
I don't know, dude. I'm winging it over here. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, let's do it because I don't want to make Ron upset.
That's right.
Yeah, no, we don't want to do that. Especially we don't want to make Lauren upset. She's scary when she's in a good mood. I mean,
no kidding. And now she's back in the room.
Yeah, exactly. Coughing on everybody.
Yeah, she's
I'll
sick.
intentionally get you sick if you don't take this commercial break.
Okay.
You should switch microphones with her for a little while.
No way.
Yeah.
I can't even look at her microphone without using
The cootie
sanitizer.
microphone.
I just looked at Lauren. I have to use sanitizer. Hold on. We'll be right back at 7:19. More with Roy from Galvanized Ministry here on WCRF in just a minute.
Founders Week, the nation's oldest and largest free Bible conference, coming this year, October 23 through 25. You're invited to join us for 3 unforgettable days of transformative teaching, heartfelt worship, and uplifting fellowship. Our theme, Transformed, the power of the gospel, anchored in the book of John. Come and immerse yourself in God's presence as you dig deeper into His Word and gain fresh inspiration for a closer walk with Him. For more, go to foundersweek.org.
God made us for community, for relationships, and because of that, isolation and brokenness are incredibly painful. Our souls were designed for more. Relationship expert Becky Harlins has written Deeper Connections in a Lonely World to help you end the ache of loneliness and embrace the rich theology of belonging. This book is biblical, practical, and healing. No more isolated, no more unconnected. Order Cultivating Deeper Connections in a Lonely World by Becky Harlins at moodybooks.org.
How exciting if God calls you to missionary aviation. Moody Bible Institute offers the Missionary Aviation Technology degree with a maintenance specialist emphasis. It includes engine overhaul, airframe rebuild, turbine engine maintenance and repair, avionics systems installation, and much more. Get started on your application today at moody.edu/aviation. Over 65 years of missionary aviation training. What an exciting way to serve God. moody.edu/aviation.
Keeping your eyes on Jesus in a changing culture can be difficult. Let us help. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio, Cleveland.
7:20 on a Thursday. It's WCRF Mornings with Brian. So if today's Thursday, that means just a few more days until the women's conference.
Yeah.
Renew is Saturday. Ladies, we do not want you to miss this. It's going to be a wonderful time of fellowship, of learning, of worship. We're so excited to see so many of you in person. Text Renew to 440-546-2255. We have with us Roy from Galvanized, a local men's recovery ministry. We're not talking about winging it today.
We could, though.
We could.
But we're
Or
not.
chicken wings.
Yeah,
Oh,
or that.
Sounds good.
Ooh.
And ladies, don't
Which I
worry.
love.
Roy will not be at the Renew
Thank
Women's
goodness.
Conference.
No.
Yeah, he will not
Is
be there.
the wonderful Kelly going to be there, I hear?
She is.
Kelly will be there.
Is she the guest tomorrow, too?
She is.
Wow. I feel like I need to call in and harass.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll stop you. That's my job.
You can't get past these two ladies, dude. I mean,
I'm
I've tried-
calling Brian's cell phone. That's it.
Oh, good idea. Lauren, you can't
You
have
just
my
gotta
cell
hold it
phone.
up. Hold
I'm
it
going
up
to
to the
confiscate it
speaker.
like it's school.
I'd rather
All right,
put it on
kids, put
silent
your
mode,
phones in the
Brian.
box.
In the basket. No, it's got to be in a basket. Put it in the basket.
All right, so again, Roy from Galvanized, you're chatting with us about time when it comes to
Time.
recovery. Tell us more.
There's an old story. I don't know. I looked it up to see who said it just now, and it says like Confucius or unknown author or something like that. But there's a saying that I've heard said before, and it says, "When's the best time to plant a shade tree?" And then the answer says 30 years ago. And then it says, when's the second best time to plant a shade tree?
Right now.
And the answer is right now.
Yeah.
Right? So right now, that's exactly it. So, so I guess maybe the unknown is now known. It was Brian from Moody Radio. But
You're right. Exactly.
Yeah. So what does that mean? It's like waiting. Oh, if I really should start to do my amends process, which is recovery, right? In recovery is where we get right with God in the first phase of recovery. In the second phase of recovery, we get right with ourselves. The third phase of recovery, we get right with other people. And then the fourth phase is trying to stay there, to live in it. It's almost like in Genesis 4, where they're walking in the coolness of the day and that ruach with God. And if you can walk in the Spirit and make good decisions, you never have to go back and make amends to other people, right? If you can stay away from hurting other people, you don't have to go back and say you're sorry for hurting other people. So That's the kind of the way that it breaks up. And in that third phase where we're getting right with other people, sometimes people wait. And I remember a guy 2 Fridays ago, we're standing outside of Galvanized, and he goes, "How do I make amends to my dad?" And I was like, "Well, what's the situation?" He goes, "Well, you know," he names a few things, and he says, "But my dad has died." You know, and then I'm sitting there, like I mentioned earlier, in the hospital last night. I'm watching the brothers and sisters. My wife has a large family. I'm watching them, you know, pray and cry, and I'm grateful that my wife and most of her brothers and sisters have made their amends over the years. They're a little older now, you know, and they've said things like, "Hey, I'm really sorry that when we were kids," and blah blah blah, whatever. In recovery, remember, starting off, that people in recovery in addiction are generally selfish in nature. We tend to do a lot of things that we need to make amends for later on. And the planting the shade tree idea is, okay, yeah, you should have made that amends, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 5 years ago, but the best time to do it is now. We're at an HOA meeting in our neighborhood, and there's like a little
That sounds
pond.
fun.
That's one of those things that's it's like speed limits. It's like necessary evil in the world, right? But we're sitting there, and the one lady lives by the pond, and nobody else really lives by the pond, and they're talking about goose control. And the lady stands up and she goes, "You know what? You don't know you have a problem until you have a problem. And then you know it's a problem." And she was talking about like, well, we never had to worry about goose control. And she's like, well, until the geese splatter your driveway every single day, you don't know it's a problem when you move in. I think of the same thing here. Like, you don't know it's a problem until it's a problem. And when somebody dies or when time passes, you don't know how bad of an opportunity you missed out on, or that, wow, I really need the shade today. I should have planted that tree 30 years ago. So in recovery, I encourage people, don't wait until you regret it. Okay. And that's kind of like the underlying theme here is like, don't wait until you regret it. Don't wait to get sober until you regret it. There's people listening on the radio that show up every single week to Galvanize. And I promise you, Brian, Galvanized, Lauren sent the email about share and all that stuff, and I'm thinking about the testimonies and what has happened. Galvanized primary feed, the men that show up to Galvanized, it's so weird how the dynamics have changed over the past 5 years. The majority of the people that show up say, I'm here because I heard it on Moody Radio.
Yeah.
Not because, they go to this church and they read it in the flyer. It's never that. It's like, I was Googling it and it popped up through Moody Radio, or I heard it on Moody Radio. And Brian, we've heard these people say, I've been meaning to show up. I've been wanting to show up, but I haven't. So that's the idea of planting the shade tree. I've been wanting to plant this tree for some time now. I know I need help. I know I've got to change my life. I know I got a lot of things. I'm living selfishly. And how can you tell? Well, look at what you're doing with your time. Look what you're doing with your respect for other people. And then you go, maybe now could be the time, right? Don't wait until you're staring at your loved one to go, boy, I really should have done something different in the past. You know what I mean? Don't hold that regret.
Well, and that's the perfect moment. Again, Roy from Galvanized, Men's Recovery Ministry at Grace Church in Middleburg Heights. We want people to get help today, plant that shade tree today. They've got a meeting tomorrow night, and we'd encourage you to go. If you need an excuse, you can say, hey, my friend Brian told me to go when they ask you about it. And
tomorrow's a great excuse because tomorrow we're going to do a cookout, and it's free, and it's to come and show up and just we're going to have a cornhole tournament, basketball shootout, and we got some prizes. We're giving away some stuff. We're going to have dinner. We're going to have a few testimonies. And we are meeting tomorrow at the Olmsted Falls campus of Grace Church. Okay? We're going to start around 6:30, and you're welcome. If you've never if you're the person that's sitting there, like Brian said, like, I've been meaning to come. I really need this, and I've heard it, and I've never made that decision. Tomorrow is going to be so easy to just show up, walk in, listen to some music, eat some food, and just feel it out, right? And get a good entry level into recovery. It's at no cost to you, no commitment. Just show up and check it out. So that's tomorrow. And then normally we're 7:30 to 9 at Grace Church, and you can always hit us up by emailing the station, or you can, communicate with us at info@galvanized.life, and we'll get in touch with you. So.
But you're saying tomorrow's a cookout, not a regular
tomorrow's
meeting.
A cookout.
And
yeah.
it's at the Olmsted Falls campus of Grace
Correct.
Church. What time
Correct.
does that start?
Which is we're going to be there around 6. Larry will be cooking. So
soft shell taco Larry.
He gets so mad every time. He's like, they said soft shell. I'm like, dude, I can't help it. It's better than lasagna, Larry. Right?
Yeah, he bought the wrong kind of soft shell
you
tacos.
You will never let that. See, and Lauren, you think I pick on him. He picks on me. That's been a year or two, right?
Oh,
soft shell
yeah.
No one has been more upset in my presence than you when you discovered that the soft shell tacos.
Yeah, you can't you can't do anything in front of Brian that's slightly embarrassing. Otherwise, you'll never live it down. Ever.
Yeah, he just
ever.
Who bought the soft shells? Who bought these?
Who bought these? All I said is, who bought these soft shells? You cheap out. It went to like GFS and stuff. I'm like, what are these? They crumble in here. I can't even eat these things. It was ridiculous, though.
Did you let Larry shop for the cookout all by himself?
I think he always shops. He's the food master. So, yeah, I should probably call him after this and tell him he's been razzed on the radio.
just double check what he's intending to buy, so it's okay.
It's probably a good point. No, but it's barbecue, so something out on the grill, and, you could come out and grab some food and meet us and have a good time. And give Larry a hard time.
If you're going alone and you need an excuse, just walk up to somebody, walk up to Roy, go, hey, my friend Brian said I had to come today. And they'll know exactly what you're talking about.
Reach out to me. I'll wait for you. I'll stand out front. I don't mind. We can, I'll stand in the parking lot and wait for you. So just reach out. It's not a big deal. We'll make it comfortable for you to show up. But like you said, don't wait until time runs out. It's just, the opportunity is now. The benefits are tremendous.
There it is. Thanks again, Roy from Galvanized. It's men's recovery ministry at Grace Church. Always love your time. And my brother, we're praying for your father-in-law and your family in this tough time, bro.
Thank you for the grace in not being prepared today. Like I said, it's been a long couple of days, so I appreciate the grace. And we did just wing it, and we made it through. So
we did.
Thank you, guys.
I declared it. We did it.
We did it. We winged it. You sure did. Good luck with David at the top of the hour.
Thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, we highlight my mistakes, too.
Oh, yeah.
See, it's all good fun. You did get a speeding ticket the other day.
Oh, so you're just going to highlight my mistakes now?
Yeah, I just
you're
thought
just turning it around on me?
I was just right now. I was thinking,
I did.
What's one of her mistakes? Oh, there it was.
Yep.
It's okay. You were in a hurry.
No, it's a little bit kind of sassy because it's 45 and it's downhill. And then suddenly it changes to 35.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then it goes back to 45 really quickly.
It's the camera that got me.
Oh, yeah, those cameras, they really get you.
Except I was driving my wife's car that's in her name, and so she got the speeding ticket.
Yeah, our car is in Eddie's name. So.
Where is that? What city does that camera?
Peninsula.
Peninsula, you are sneaky.
And it's downhill. It's very sneaky.
Downhill, slow the speed limit. You're trying to make money off of us with your camera. That's what you're doing.
Mm.
It
doesn't seem fair.
Ghostly sailor guy is the
He's
one
making
setting
money
up
off
the
me.
camera.
He said, "You're not scared of me? I'm going to make money off you too."
Those cameras, I don't like them.
No.
Not because they catch me, but I don't like them because they're usually sneaky.
They're quite.
They're going to put up a camera.
It's right at a slow down.
In a place that tempts you to go too fast.
Yeah, it's right at a slowdown. 10 whole points. You have to slow down, and you're going downhill. But
that's not fair.
I did it illegal, so I'm paying it.
Yeah. All right, 7:33, time for a quick break, and we come back. The Surgeon General of the United States of America has issued an advisory for parents.
For the essence of sin is man substituting himself for God, while the essence of salvation is God substituting himself for man. I'm Darcy Harrod, and this is Pause for Prayer. That quote from John Stott encapsulates the essence of what the gospel is. How often do we put ourselves in the place of God? For me, it's daily, if not hourly. I want to be in charge. I want to call the shots. I want to be sitting in the seat of God. But what a miracle the gospel is. Even though my heart is inclined to be the one on the throne, God took my place and paid my price. Let's pause for prayer. Father, please remind me of all the ways I'm trying to put myself in the place that only you should be. Help me to call it what it is, sin. Not only do you love me when I try to take you off the throne and put myself there, but in fact, you substituted yourself for me. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." Help all of us to trust you completely and submit to your will, knowing that you have the perfect plan. Romans 5:8 says, "But God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." Father, thank you for this truth. The essence of sin is trying to take your place, but the essence of salvation is you taking ours. Help me to remember that true freedom and peace come not from sitting on the throne, but from surrendering that place to you. May I live in the light of this truth every day. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Ever questioned your purpose in life? What was I made for? Why am I here? The Bible has the answers. Join Today in the Word for this month's Bible study on the Old Testament book of Ecclesiastes. The study, written by Moody professor Russell Meek, will encourage you as you learn the answers to these deep questions. To join our study, download the free Today in the Word app or go to todayintheword.com. That's todayintheword.com.
Do you ever feel more like roommates than soulmates?
He never, ever cleans up after himself.
I didn't feel like I had a say.
We just kept butting heads.
Family Life's Weekend to Remember is a weekend to get away, get refreshed, and reflect on what matters most.
It really opened my eyes to how great marriage could be.
Attend a weekend to remember.
Amen.
It's a must.
Register by September 16th and save 50% on all weekends at weekendtoremember.com.
4 out of 3 people struggle with math. Brian says that's 60% of the population. Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
7:39 on a Thursday morning. It's WCRF Mornings with Brian. Hey, you've heard our friend Dr. Steve Gersovich. He is a local child psychiatrist. He talks with us about a lot of issues impacting young people today. And we're very excited to be partnering with him for his mental health and the church conference. It's through his ministry, Key Ministry, September 26th and 27th at Bay Presbyterian Church. One of the goals for the conference is to explore how ministry organizations serving the mental health community can work collaboratively to maximize impact throughout the church. So if you want to get some more information, save the date for that. Text the word KEY to 440-546-2255, and we will be broadcasting on that Friday. So we'll get to see you in person if you come out to that. And speaking of kids, Lauren, you are a mom of two beautiful boys. You're a busy parent. You saw an article that really struck a chord with you recently.
Yeah, there's tons of parenting influencers that were posting this article or like clips of this article. And it was the Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, put out an advisory declaring parental mental health an urgent public health issue. Advisories are reserved for, quote, significant public health challenges that require the nation's immediate awareness and action.
So he's worried about parents.
He's worried about parents.
Okay.
He says, in his foreword, Murthy emphasizes that parenting is both integral for the health of children and the health of society, but the stresses of parents are being passed on to their children. So that's like the main concern, is that the parents are stressed, which is what we talk about all the time. Parents have anxiety and we're passing the anxiety on to the kids. And then we have this other epidemic that he declared of anxious kids.
Have you seen that with your kids? Where if you're feeling anxious, they start to get anxious? Yeah.
Yeah, because especially when they're so young as my kids are, they regulate their emotions through me because they don't know how. And so they're looking to me to regulate their emotions for them.
Yeah, it's finally now with my older kids where they're able to occasionally go, whoa, Dad, hey, what's going on over there?
But
if
you're
they don't
panicked,
get sucked into it.
Exactly. If you're panicked, they think that they should be panicked.
Right.
Because they're still figuring the world out.
Mm-hmm.
But advisories are reserved for significant public health challenges that require the nation's immediate awareness and action.
Okay.
So he says parents contend with unreasonable expectations. He gives a bunch of data you can go find. But the department outlines a multitude of responsibilities leading to the current state of parents' mental health, and they include the following: financial strain, economic instability and poverty, time demands, children's health, children's safety, parental isolation and loneliness, technology and social media, and cultural pressures and children's futures. He also wrote that parents feel that the parents are not meeting expectations either of their self or expectations they've made for themselves or expectations society has put on them. Then they internalize that stress as shame, leading to a vicious cycle where shame and stress build upon another. And then obviously that shame and stress, you're passing it on to your kids because they're following after exactly what you feel or how you're acting.
Now, he seems to be indicating this is different than before because somebody like Ron could go, I was stressed as a parent and I didn't get an advisory. Right. You were, I bet, stressed as a parent.
Not as much as my wife, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, because I think if I remember right, you had a kid who was chronically late and a bad driver.
Yes.
And so you made him get a job nearby.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Because he wanted a job at the mall, and that's a 20-minute drive from our house. And I knew he would not get ready to go until 10 minutes before he was supposed to start and try to make it up on the road. And I said, no, won't do it.
Yeah, he says that parents are experiencing new stressors on top of the already daunting tasks of protecting their children from harm, managing finances, and navigating uncertainties that teenagers face. So that there's these new stressors of expectations society's put on us, or expectations we're putting on ourselves. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago of when Rob Fenn was here on a Friday of what's the line of helicopter parenting or not.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the expectations of society is if you're not helicopter parenting, I'm going to call Department of Child and Family Services on you. And so then parents today are helicopter parenting because they don't want DCFS called on them.
It's so weird.
But then there's also like, stop helicopter parenting. Well, how? Because you're going to call, or somebody's going to call DCFS on me if I let my kid wander in the front yard by himself and you can't see me, even though I can see my kid.
And see, I've lived in a bunch of different areas, and I would tell you my experience living in Chicago and in the suburbs of Cleveland, that would definitely be a concern. If your kid was walking by themselves, somebody might be all nervous.
Yeah.
Rural America, it's not as much of a problem. Like, people are not that worried about it where I'm at now. It's a uniquely urban and suburban problem, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It's just different types of living.
Yeah.
And what types of people are around.
Yeah, and I would say, like, my older kids have specifically looked at Sarah and I and said, you know, being a kid today is totally different than it was when you were a kid. Like, you can't totally understand what we're going through. Now, kids have always said that. But I bet you said that to your parents at some point, Ron.
I probably did.
But I think, comparatively speaking, help me here, I think my kids are right.
In some ways, yeah, because you did not grow up with the internet. The 24-hour news cycle is relatively new. It's a different world, objectively.
I mean, 24-hour news didn't really become a thing until I was grown.
Yeah.
We didn't have cell phones when I was in high school. We didn't have social media.
Right. We see your kids see all the scary stuff. They can see, wars happening across the world on their phone and see multiple images of wars happening across the world that you would have barely known about. A lot of wars we didn't know about before we had social media and news.
I mean, we're exposed to more media messaging within, I don't know what the exact number, a very short time period, more than our predecessors would have seen in their entire lives.
Yeah.
And so there's been research and just how that itself really takes a toll on our brains and our mental health. And kids are growing up with this.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, Sarah and I have 5 kids. As Len Neville's once said, I think I miscalculated. You can't monitor social media 5 kids.
Exactly. And that's part of the problem, is that he lists technology and social media as one of these new stressors that parents are facing, and why there's a public health crisis, that parenting is a public health crisis.
I mean, somebody thinks I'm a bad parent now, but how can I make dinner, give rides, work, do self-care, all those things, and monitor the ongoing social media updates of 5 children?
Yeah. It's too much.
And then, by the way, some of them like to play online games with their friends.
Yeah, so what are you going to put on a headset and listen to what their friends are saying?
Yeah, and that's separate from social media, of course.
Yeah, right.
There's a measure at which you just have to go, classic cliche for Christians, let go and let God, where you have to kind of like monitor when you can, but also trust that the Lord will protect them and work it out if something bad happens.
Right. Yeah, you have to trust that God loves your kids more than you do.
But it's so stressful.
Really hard. It's so stressful. Dr. Murthy gives 4 things that need to, 4 main shifts that need to happen for society to take action. And I want to look at those, but I also want to look at how should we as Christians think about it, about his 4 actions, and maybe different things that he should look at.
All right, we'll do that here in just a minute.
Ladies, are you looking for spiritual encouragement? Moody Radio invites you to rejuvenate your faith and draw close to Jesus at Renew, the one-day conference for women, coming to Canton, Ohio, September 7th. Your spirit will be uplifted and your mind engaged as our keynote speakers share insights from God's Word that will inspire you to pursue godliness in your home, work, church, and community. You'll also spend time in worship with hundreds of godly women who, just like you, desire a deeper intimacy with Christ. Sign up today at moodyconferences.com/renew.
It's not insurance, and that's a new way of thinking for some families. Christian Healthcare Ministries is a credible way to meet family healthcare costs affordably, biblically, and effectively, whether starting or growing your family. Serving families as a nonprofit healthcare sharing ministry for over 40 years, CHM has offered families the freedom to choose how they would like to meet healthcare costs. Be pleasantly surprised and find answers to your questions at chministries.org/Moody. That's chministries.org/Moody.
Moody Radio is thankful for support for businesses across the country, like Fellowship Home Loans. Whether purchasing or refinancing a home, Mike and Brian walk hand in hand with clients through the whole process. You can learn more about their approach to mortgage lending at fellowshiphomeloans.com.
Keeping your eyes on Jesus in a changing culture can be difficult. Let us help. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio, Cleveland.
It's 7:49 WCRF. You're listening to Mornings with Brian. And ladies, listen, we do not want you to miss out. You are running out of time, though. To get your tickets for the Renew Women's Conference, it's this Saturday. We have Dr. Julie Slattery, Glenna Marshall, and Taylor James, as well as a panel discussion from all three women. We are very excited to welcome you, see a lot of you in person. It's going to be a great time of fellowship and worship. It's this Saturday, though. You have to get your tickets. They will be available at the door, but we cannot promise they won't sell out. So get those now, 440-546-2255.
Will Ron and Brian be there?
Yes.
In the corner.
You can meet the whole team. All four of us will all be there.
Great.
Who are you trying to emulate right now?
Well, for the radio, it's theater of the mind. People can't see me unless they're on the live stream. They thought it was a woman asking if the men will be there from the team.
Yeah, you guys will be there. You can meet everybody.
Yep.
Anyways, we've been talking about an article, I guess an alert from the Surgeon General Vivek Murthy saying that parenting is a public health safety hazard, basically.
Preach,
And
brother.
it's like, what?
It's a little weird, but
It's a little weird to say that it's a, public safety hazard. And then that kind of also indicates, I don't know, then that makes me feel like you saying that, okay, yes, it may be true, but you saying that is going to make younger people not want kids. And we already have a problem with that.
Birth rate is already below replacement
Yeah.
levels, yeah.
well,
So
it's
it's like
going to make
making
parents
some-
more anxious.
It could,
That is so true.
on the other hand, though, once people see that concerns of parents are being taken more seriously, there are maybe some little glimmers of hope that we're going to be a more family-focused and family-friendly country maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe it could have the results of people wanting to have more kids. You never know.
Yeah. And I think at least the posts I was seeing on social media was people are like, finally someone's saying it, that we have all these stressors, that there's all these things going on and we're not just, oh, woe is me. Like someone is seeing that there's more stress.
It feels seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Dr. Murthy gives 4 main shifts that need to happen to take action
Okay.
to care for the well-being of parents and caregivers. Number 1, recognition that parenting is work. That's not that it's basically another full-time job if we're going to put it in those categories.
And so it's like social acceptance of the reality that parenting today is a full-time job.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Number 2 is more community and government support. He says that policies that would invest in health, education, and safety of children are crucial to improving parental mental health. So community involvement through friendship, helping hands, providing emotional support are vital in lessening the burden. So it takes a village.
Take that literally.
But actually do that, just like saying it means nothing. Like when you see a woman that's pregnant and you're like, oh, it just takes a village. It's so hard. Okay, well, are you going to help? Are you actually going to help, or are you just going to say that like a little cliche phrase?
Right.
Are you going to provide food, clothes, diapers? I saw a post the other day in a mom's group. Someone was invited to a baby shower, and she was like, all the gifts are really expensive on her registry. And she also is expecting us to bring a pack of diapers, too. So, like, I don't want to spend $60 on a gift and a pack of diapers. And then the end was, oh, babies are so expensive. Yeah, that's why she's asking for help.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
it's insane.
she's buying all those $60 things, plus 60, plus 60, plus 60, plus 60, plus diapers for the end of time. She's just asking you to do it one time. So are we going to be a village? Are we going to actually live up to the things that we say? Or are we just going to say those cliche things?
Yeah.
Number 3 was the ability to talk openly about challenges, which is, I think, something I've seen a lot in parenting where people did not warn me about how hard parenting is. And so I've made it something that I tell my friends in my circle, like, yeah, I'm going to be honest about what's hard. I'm going to tell you that it's really great and that it's worth it and that I would not, trade my kids for anything, that I don't regret anything, but I'm going to be honest about how it is hard.
I mean, the cultural narrative for many years was, oh, being a mother is the best thing in the whole world, and father, and cherish these days. These days when they're little are just the best. Now, that's somewhat true.
It is somewhat true.
They're the best in hindsight.
In hindsight.
And only in hindsight.
Yeah, like the days are long, but the years are short. Yeah, the days are long for me right now. I haven't had the years yet. I just have the days where they're long. Like, who are you going to come to my house and get your hair ripped? Are you going to get scratched? Are you going to clean up stuff all day long? You clean up the kitchen and then you turn around and the living room's a mess because you let them play while you were cleaning up the kitchen.
Right.
the days are long. And it's okay to say that. I don't think we need to be ashamed to say that, yeah, parenting is hard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we need to feel pressure to be like, oh, it's all sunshines and daisies, because it's not.
Yeah, I think another thing, too, that's making this hard, and if you want to be a stay-at-home mom or a working mom, that is your choice. They're both valid. But it used to be that more women stayed home, and it is objectively harder to balance a job, which you have to do in a lot of cases, pay for daycare, and then come home and raise your kids. I'm sure you're exhausted, Lauren.
Oh, yeah. I was like running on fumes, but that's okay.
You don't really complain, which is an admirable quality.
I just recognize that it's a season. I think having one and now having a second, I'm like, yeah, it is a season. And like the stuff goes by quick.
I think complaining is a rare talent of mine. It's a gift, actually.
You said that right. And then the fourth and final shift that he says is a culture of connection among parents. As the loneliness epidemic recognized by this same Surgeon General last year weighs already on stressed parents, the advisory encourages parents and caregivers to come together, exchange experiences and ideas, and support each other for better parental well-being. Was there anything that we missed?
No, but I wonder what our boomer friend thinks of all this.
Wah, we had it harder. That would be the typical expected boomer response.
I mean, because it wasn't easy to be a parent for you either.
No, and yet we had, like, we could send our kids out to play. They didn't think about, take my phone with me. They barely had access to the internet. It was dial up on the same line as our phone line. So anytime you got a phone call, bing, you were kicked off the internet.
It was the worst.
Yeah. So it was easier in that regard. We didn't have that stress. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go through it again today.
Yeah, and see, I think the problem we have is if somebody today says parenting is harder, it feels like what they're saying is it used to be easy.
Right.
And that's not what they're saying. Is that what you're saying, Lauren? Like, oh, those older people had it so easy.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm sad that people in Ron's generation didn't get to share openly that it was hard. I think it's okay to share openly that it's hard.
Yeah.
And I think for decades we've been told not to share that it's hard. But to only be happy about it and to only talk about it that it's, easy and wonderful and amazing, that makes it really really lonely experience because you think that you're alone. You think that you're the only one that is up in the middle of the night rocking your baby for the 5th time.
Because everybody else's baby seems to sleep through the night.
But that's not true. There's thousands of other moms and dads up in the middle of the night rocking their babies. They're just not talking about it.
Mm-hmm. They're
And so
pretending they're fine.
Once you realize, oh, I'm not alone. There are other people that are sitting rocking their babies in the middle of the night. There are other people that their kids have food allergies. There are other people that their kids struggle in school.
Mm-hmm.
Because someone has to talk about it for someone else to feel seen and heard and known. And so I'm saying I feel sad for the people like Ron and Dana and for you and Sarah that weren't able to talk about it. That felt like you would be shamed if you talked about the struggles of parenting.
I think we did share difficulties of parenting, but there are some, like you mentioned, food allergies. I couldn't remember in my childhood anybody with a food allergy. I would have thought allergies to peanuts, how can that be? And yet now I know. And I think when I got to be a parent, it started to become a little more publicly known and acknowledged. And now it's almost a given. Every school, my grandkids go to, what food allergies are in the class, and can I bring any kind of a snack for the kids, or do I just bring them a toy or something because you can't give food to these kids.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic that allergies rates are growing. It's not that there really wasn't any when your kids were growing up, and now there is a lot. That's a whole.
Okay.
Well, now someone just texted though, and I was hoping we'd get something like this because people who've already been through the parenting process. One of them said, "We didn't raise spoiled kids." That's the difference. It's harder for parents today because they're spoiling their kids, is what their implication is.
I think I raised spoiled kids.
I mean,
and they
is there
probably acknowledge it.
Is there any truth to the idea that kids today maybe are a little more spoiled than kids in the past?
I think it depends on what you're talking about. Are they spoiled because they have technology and they have internet and they have social media and they I don't know.
Right.
It depends on what you mean by spoiled. Spoiled in what way? Spoiled is a really broad term. I spoiled with what?
Well, yeah, because I think there was actually a big shift with boomer parents in a positive sense that they, like my dad's dad never went to his baseball games. Not interested. His mom didn't either. Like nobody went to him. So he made a shift and he wanted to be more involved with his kids. So there was this shift among your generation, Ron, to say, we're doing this differently. We're going to be more involved in our kids' lives, and we're going to love them more specifically, okay? And I think that dial's been continually cranked up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that spoiled, though? I don't know. Maybe.
And there's more team sports, club sports.
A lot more.
Gymnastics, cheer, dance, all the things for girls as well, that we're paying to put our kids through all that. Is that spoiling them? Maybe it is, but it's also an effort to, provide them with some kind of positive, encouraging, building their self-esteem. My granddaughter, Lexi, thinks the world of herself. I mean, not egotistically, but
yeah.
She's been in gymnastics and cheer since she was a zygote, I think. And now, wow, she can fly, do flips, all kinds of things, and she's real confident. So it's working.
I mean, I think that there's obviously an objective reality to parenting is very different than it used to be because there's added layers with social media, primarily social media and technology, okay? So I think that can objectively make it a little harder. I feel like that's almost an indisputable statement. But what people are bringing up, we'll have to talk about tomorrow, is that perhaps with that, kids are too spoiled. So what they're saying in my mind is that the Surgeon General is right and wrong. He's right that parents are all freaked out. We need to be careful and supportive. But some people are texting and saying it's also kind of their fault.
Yeah. Parents are more stressed, have more anxiety. There's this public health warning now of parenting, but it's brought upon themselves.
In some respects, I think that's what the argument would be. We'll have to cover that tomorrow, I think. And we'll get more boomer comments. An Xer in my part.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
Stay off my lawn.
I haven't experienced what you have is having kids with technology, so I don't know. You'll have to speak into that.
I'm in that odd generation where my oldest two kids, their baby pictures are not digital.
Yeah.
We didn't have a digital camera until, you know what I mean? Like we're in that weird transition point. I have hardly any videos of my older kids when they were little. And now I've got like
too many.
Yeah, too many. So it's a dramatic change in my lifetime. All right, 8:02, we got to take a break. Tomorrow we'll cover that on Follow-Up Friday if that's what you'd like to do. Thanks, Lauren. Appreciate you taking us through that. Coming up in just a moment, our friend David Szfranski, president and founder of Edgewater Investment Group, will be here to answer your financial questions. You just have to ask them.
Please.
We need you to text or call with your financial questions. 440-546-2255.
Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland, WCRF Cleveland, WVMS Sandusky, WVML Millersburg, WVMN Newcastle, WVME Meadville, WVMU Ashtabula, and everywhere with the Moody Radio app or at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
The Justice Department is accusing Russia of trying to influence the 2024 U.S. presidential election. It's 8:03. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. On Wednesday, Attorney General Merrick Garland detailed the Russian campaign to interfere with the election. Garland said 2 Russian employees of the Russian state media outlet RT have been charged with money laundering and violating the Foreign Agents Registration Act. A disciplinary hearing is being scheduled for a Canton police officer who was recently caught on video kicking a suspect in the chest. The Canton Police Department recently completed an internal investigation of the incident and released a statement yesterday saying that Officer Brandon Mamarov violated the department's use of force policy. And sports betting is rapidly increasing across Ohio. In July, the Ohio Casino Control and Ohio Lottery Commissions say $477 million worth of bets were made in Ohio. Compare that to July of 2023, that's an increase of more than $145 million in betting. I'll have sports and weather in just a moment.
Moody Radio is thankful for our listeners and partners like Rawhide Reasoning.
In theaters now, Reagan returns to office.
You can run from a bully for so long, but after a while, you're going to have to stand up to him. I am about to start the biggest war of this century.
You told me you wanted to make a difference in this world.
What would you have me do?
I want you to fight!
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Reagan, in theaters now, rated PG-13.
In sports, the Guardians lost to the Royals 4-1, and the Cubs no-hit the Pirates 12-0. Here's something a little sunnier for the news. It's our Moody Radio Cleveland forecast, and we are calling for sunny skies with highs in the mid-80s. At last check, clear and 60 degrees in Cleveland, 57 Akron and Canton, 57 in Mansfield as well.
It's time for your moron moment.
Do you have any old electronics lying around? Costco's revamped trade-in program lets you swap them for a store gift card, no membership fee needed. Go to their online portal for a quote. If you're cool with the offer they're making, the shipping's free and you'll have your money in under 3 weeks. P.S. Amazon has a trade-in program for electronics too, so compare both to see which gives you the better price. And that's your Moron Moment. And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It's 8:06. With Moody Radio News, I'm Ron Eastwood.
Broadcasting live from the
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
The opinions expressed during this program represent the opinions of the participants and is given for informational purposes only. Any information provided is not intended to replace professional advice for your specific situation.
It's Thursday, which means Farmer Dave is here.
Farmer Dave.
Financial Farmer Dave. So get your financial questions in now. Text or call 440-546-2255. Welcome, Dave.
Is there a reason you called me Farmer Dave?
But it really took off last week, so I'm going to keep doing it.
I sent you that video of I guess he's my great nephew saying Farmer Dave.
Really?
It's amazing.
Yes.
Well, you do have a barn now.
I have a barn, yeah.
So you're a farmer.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I have to be real careful on this radio station. We have a lot of farmers that are listening right now, like milking cows. And so I always am very cautious when people call me, oh, you have a farm. No.
You have some hobbies.
I have a cute little place that has some fun little hobbies. I'm not a farmer.
Yeah, I could have been a farmer, but it would be plants. I don't want to have
Oh, you're good with plants.
Well, I wouldn't want to, I understand where meat comes from and all that. I'm all good with that. People that love to hunt.
I couldn't do that either.
Hunt all you want.
So it's not for you.
It's just not for me.
That's okay.
Are you good with plants, though? You never really answered that.
Am I good with plants? I have plants in my office that continually die.
So no.
It's actually part of the office staff's chores to water my plants.
Chores.
Aren't you glad you work here?
Could you imagine if you called my work chores?
It's part of their job duty to water my plants.
Their job description has responsibilities, new section, chores.
Instead of duties as assigned, chores.
Yes. They get an allowance. It's called a paycheck.
Get those financial questions in for Dave, for goodness sakes. 440-546-2255.
And I want to remind everybody that I am the Polish king, and I have a sash that proves it.
Yeah,
it's pink and sparkly.
It's official. So
yeah, if you want to see his sash.
The Polish king.
The Polish king. If you want to see his sash, go watch us on YouTube or Facebook. Text live 440-546-2255.
So when somebody texts that, what happens next?
Text the word live.
Yeah.
They get a link back to our YouTube.
Okay. And then do you send them all kind of emails and stuff like that? And you don't capture and then ask them for things?
No, our texting software is not a subscription software.
Okay. So
That's
it's
emails.
safe. You could do this and you're not going to get hounded by Lauren or Brian or
No, I'm not
Dari.
going into our texting software going to find you. So
Okay.
sorry. I only text you if you text me.
And does everybody else know that you're sick today?
Yes.
Okay. Do they know that I'm probably going to die on the way back to my office now from some horrible
See what
disease?
I put up with? I have to be in the same room with Mrs. McSickerson over there.
Yes.
Mrs. McSnotty.
I've been sick since Sunday, so it's it's never going to get better. So
All right. Well, stay clear.
steer clear.
Sister flums a lot.
Yes, exactly. It's moving pretty quick, though. It's already into my chest, when it gets rattly in your
that's
chest.
good. That's
so
good.
we're moving. We're on the right.
Sounds great.
Have you gotten to the excessively gassy stage yet?
I don't think that happens.
Oh, that's not what
Of a
Brian says about you.
Of a cold?
Dave, you're on a roll
my
today.
Gosh, he's feeling some type
That's
of way.
really good. Sorry.
All right, we got our first question. Are you familiar with the autopilot investing app? Are you
People
familiar with it?
They want you to like apps, Dave. You don't.
It probably sucks.
So no, you're not familiar.
I'm not familiar with it, but so what we want to do is we are so bent on making everything so easy and just and investing isn't rocket science. I mean, we know this.
You claim it is sometimes.
Well, I feel like it is. So.
Well, we make it like that, and
Buy
so
low, sell high.
we just buy low, sell high. Come on, it's so easy. It's like golf. When I'm driving the ball down the middle of the fairway, golf is easy. When I'm shanking it into somebody's picture window on the 9th hole, now I got to buy a window. It's not easy, but these autopilot things, I think this is something that is important enough where it does demand a slight amount of time. And that time could be quarterly, semi-annually, but to look at things. Now, I like automatic investments. I think people have a hard time saving. So you set it up on kind of autopilot where every month a portion of your paycheck goes to some kind of investing, whether it's your 401k, your personal portfolio, all those things. But I just think there should be a little bit of time invested. Now, if this is the only way you're going to do it, if this is the only way you're going to save money, then I'm all for it. But who's picking the investments? Who's monitoring the investments? These are things that you should be doing, even if it's not, it doesn't need to take 2 hours a day, but it does need 2 hours a quarter.
Okay.
All right, 8:16, time for a quick break. We'll come back with more of your financial questions for David Szfranski here on WCRF 440-546-2255.
We live in a performance-based world, but happy and hope-filled marriages thrive on grace. Marriage was God's design. So how do you show your spouse the same grace Christ has shown you? In The Grace Marriage, Brad and Marilyn Rhodes provide you with an intentional approach to strengthening your marriage, showcasing God's grace as a vital resource for you to thrive, not just survive. Transform your marriage relationship. Get your copy of The Grace Marriage today at moodybooks.org.
If you're 65 or older, you know this. Seeing your healthcare costs go up and up is frustrating. And maybe you were just notified that your Medicare costs are increasing again, or you're just tired of the massive deductibles. Well, here's some good news. There's a program that can really help with this. It's MediShare 65 Plus. It's an affordable, reliable alternative. You can choose any Medicare provider. You get telehealth access anytime you need it. And MediShare 65 Plus is a low-cost option for those with Medicare Parts A and B, and it fills in the gaps where Medicare stops. MediShare is a Christian healthcare community that aligns with your faith. People actually pray for you, they encourage you, and it's proven too. It's been going strong for over 30 years now. So call now. You can get one low monthly price for up to 10 years. You're not stuck with increasing costs. You can do something about this today. Call MediShare 65 Plus. Find out how much you can save. Call 833-59-SHARE. That's 833-59-SHARE. 833-59-SHARE.
Okay, let's go to Helen in Brecksville. Helen, what's your question for David Szfranski?
Yes, David is my Polish king. I'm a Polish 80-year-old lady, and I just adore him. Now Brian can make fun of you all day long.
And he would. It's Thursday, which means Dave is here.
That lady should make me some pierogies. She sounds like she would be good at it.
Yeah, that sounds nice. Text or call with your financial questions, 440-546-2255. Dave, do you think that the market is currently overvalued?
I have no idea.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. The market is up about 80% of the time. And there will be days like yesterday was a little bit of a, not a recovery day, but the day before the market was down 700 points.
That sounds bad.
Well, it's not necessarily bad.
What do I know?
Yeah,
what do you guys know?
Nothing.
You
That's why you're
radio.
Here. Yeah, exactly. That's why we bring you here.
Mm-hmm. So the market is up over time about 80% of the time. So when you look at history as our guide, nothing has outpaced the rate of return that the market can bring you. So if you buy bonds, you're basically a loser, okay, over time, economically. I mean, I don't mean personally you're a loser.
You've lost money over time.
You may be a loser, but economically you're going to lose. It's like buying CDs. People say, well, at least I know my money's safe. Safe against what? Inflation? No. Costs are up 25%. I heard somebody from the administration yesterday say, well, grocery prices are coming down. No, they're not. They are not coming down at all. They're just growing. They're going up at a slower pace. They're not coming down. Go to the grocery store.
I do.
So so do I.
It's scary.
You know, if you don't, I just watched this thing the other day about Dollar General, Dollar Tree. These stores are getting hammered. People are not shopping at Dollar General. Where do you trade down from? The dumpster. That's where you go next. That's where you're shopping. When you can't afford Dollar General, you're dumpster diving. And it turns out that when you look at the price per unit of something that you bought at Dollar General or Walmart, it's super expensive at Dollar General. They're really selling just convenience. And they go to these underserved areas. Yeah. And so
it's all we have where I live.
Yeah, well, you You kind of live. You really do live in the boonies.
And I pass a Dollar General
Every
everywhere
38
I go.
feet. Yeah.
Okay.
$20,000
Guys,
Generals.
We're getting
20,000.
lit up here, so we got to get moving here.
Let's go. Okay. Sorry.
What are the drivers of the stock market?
Well, corporate profits. It's what we call a future discounting mechanism, where if profits are going up for companies, stock prices should go up. Also, inflation is a driver. Job growth is a driver. Immigration. There's a lot of things that drive the stock market. So you could get things in the stock market that far outperform market sectors that far outperform other sectors, and that's what I call the portfolio tilt. So if you want to outperform, if you want to try and outperform the markets in general, you're going to tilt your portfolio in a certain way. Like right now, I think technology is a great way to tilt in some form or fashion because it's just expanding so dramatically. The amount of information that we have access to doubles so quickly now. And with AI and the ways that we're going to apply AI to just the general marketplace, it's kind of incredible how fast things are growing. So there's a lot of different drivers. The war in Ukraine, the war in Israel are drivers of defense stocks. The fact that Chair Powell is going to cut interest rates on the 18th is a driver of real estate. So there's drivers for certain market sectors, but in general, the market is going to go up over time. Now, I can't write a contract and say, I know that the market is going to go up.
Sure.
But if I look at history, the market goes up.
Okay.
That's where you want to be.
Speaking of history, quick side note. Today's my dad's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday, old man.
Bill is same age as you now, Dave. 74.
That's not true.
Ish. 74? Yeah. Same age as you.
Somebody was in my office the other day and he said, you know what? You really do. You look 45.
Yeah, you told us that last week.
That's not true.
I'm going to repeat that story every week.
No.
Yeah. It is true.
You are not 45-ish. Anyways.
No, it's true that he said that.
Oh. Can't get enough of Dave Szfranski.
That's right.
Does he have a book or a podcast I can read or listen to?
I have a podcast called Financial Revelations. I'll record it today. And I have a book coming out called The Sin of Retirement.
Is it coming out in January now? Because you keep pushing back the month.
Sometimes, Lauren, I don't like you very much.
It's mutual.
I know. It's coming out. It's coming out. Just be ready
It's going to be a big hit in the
We
retired
are on
community.
standby. Everyone's on standby.
December, January.
Okay.
I'm busy.
See you in March.
December next year.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, which December? Yeah.
Financial Revelations. You can get it on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh, that's nice.
It's on all these services.
Okay. I'd like to know Dave's opinion on, I believe that they're called PPD stock, and particularly Temu, as far as a potential investment product. I don't own any other stock. I'm just inquiring on a simple product to get started on.
Temu, anything in China, I think is essentially uninvestable right now. I would not invest in China. I wanted to love Baba for a long time because they're kind of...
Is that what you call your dad or something?
No, that's
Your
China's
grandpa.
version
Binkies.
of Amazon is Baba.
Alibaba, isn't
Alibaba.
It's what you call your
It's a
blankie.
great stock, this Alibaba. It's a big company. They're just uninvestable. The Chinese market, in general, is an export market, export-driven market. The Chinese people cannot afford the things that the Chinese people make. And so they have to export it to places. The main driver of economics in Europe, which is Germany, is basically on the verge of recession right now. France is basically just a socialist country making baguettes and nice desserts and things like that.
Which are delicious.
They are delicious. But Europe is not an economic engine. It's socialist. They're never going to be an economic engine. So you can't invest in China. I just would not invest in China.
Okay. My husband turned 70 in June and began taking Social Security. I'm waiting 2 more years to start myself. We are self-employed and our income varies, and we experienced some work changes in the last month. We have 2 small rental homes, and we used to use TurboTax for years. But given all the recent changes, we want to figure out if we need a CPA, which sounds expensive, or an experienced tax preparer, or if we can stick with TurboTax. And how do we figure out how much to spend on estimated tax this September with Social Security and income changes going on? Not fans of math, but we need to figure this out.
May I, Dave, begin?
Please do.
Hiring a CPA is not expensive. Lauren, you did it for the first time.
Yeah, I think $150 maybe.
Which is just a little bit more than TurboTax every year.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like, oh, hire a CPA, I'm going to spend thousands. No, that's not how it works. Dave?
Well, I think I'm going to let you go, Brian. You seem to be doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, no, I would recommend
Surprisingly.
Especially if you're self-employed, I highly recommend you go to a tax professional.
It changed my life, honestly. Truly. I think about it often.
Yes.
Yes. And I don't have my own business like that.
These are the things you think about often?
Yes. I don't have 2 rental homes and my own business, but I changed my life.
Oh, it did for me too. Like I did TurboTax for years, and every time I would be so stressed for days and weeks beforehand. And this one, it's like, wait, I just bring you all my stuff, and you just do it.
And you say thank you so much, and then the next thing you know, you get an email or call saying it's done.
Yeah,
my goodness.
You know, the other thing too, when you own a business, you need. I think it behooves you to use somebody who can help you plan a little bit, offer suggestions on how to lower your tax bill.
And they will tell you how much to pay on your estimated tax.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to figure all that out.
They will help you figure it out.
I think you could shop around, too, to find someone that fits within your budget.
Your estimated tax is 90% of what you paid in last year has to be in by December. So that's a kind of an easy calculation. However, you could bring your tax down with a little bit of work from somebody who knows taxes, like a CPA, and can offer you some suggestions on how to lower your taxes.
And hot tip. When I first moved here, I went up to my pastor and I said, hey, I want a CPA. Do we know anybody at the church that's a CPA? He said, as a matter of fact, we do. And that's how I found my CPA. Pastors are connected. They know.
And then Brian gave him to me.
And Kelly.
Yes, and now we share.
The whole station.
Oh, wow. That's so nice. That is a heartwarming story.
Your heart does seem... Wait, no, it doesn't seem warm at all.
Okay.
Still very cold.
Dave, I've worked for a company for 10 years, left, but I still have a 401k, I assume there. Where is it, and how can I get a hold of it or roll it over?
You know what was cold this morning, Brian? My toilet seat. I had to turn the temperature up a little bit on that thing.
You
got to heat a toilet seat.
Oh, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
What does this have to do with anything?
It gets chilly on the lake. You got to take care of it. That's self-care right there. What was the question? 401k? Old 401k?
They left a 401k at a company that they worked at for 10 years. Where is it, and how can I get a hold of it or roll it over?
Where is it? It's not in the abyss. Don't worry. It hasn't disappeared. It's still there. The company has to... They're probably sending you quarterly statements that you're throwing away. Whenever you get a statement or anything with your name on it, and usually if you get mail, it has your name on it, you should shred those things. Like an advertisement.
Open immediately.
If you get the community coupon book or something, you don't have to shred that. But if you get a statement from an investment account, a bank account, a checking account, Social Security, whatever, do not throw those things in the trash. Shred them. Buy a shredder. Invest in a shredder. And
at first I thought you were advising us to just throw away.
I was confused.
No, don't just throw away. Look at them.
After you open it.
Yeah, I would look at them. But you're probably getting a quarterly statement or an annual statement, and you can call the company that you worked for and say, hey, you may remember me. I got fired for cause. I don't know if that's really what happened to them or not, but I had a 401k, and I want to move it. Who is it with? And they will tell you. They don't generally want your money there anyway.
Yeah.
And so you could then pick it up from the 401k and move it to your own IRA without any taxes or general penalties or anything like that.
I was picturing a whole bunch of people taking unopened letters from financial organizations, put them right in the shredder.
So
the way you described
Jim Tomey, who used to play for the Indians, played for you guys don't remember, it was a long time ago.
The Guardians.
His agent was throwing away old records, and he threw them in a dumpster. And somebody dumpster dove, probably because they couldn't afford Dollar General anymore, and got Jim Tomey's information and stole his credit.
Goodness.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It turns out that somebody stole my wife's credit and her identity. But they're spending a lot less than she does, so I think I'm just going to let it ride.
I'm still mystified by all these people looking for like the hardest name to spell to steal their identity. What happened to good old Smith? You know, and
My identity. Well, somebody's trying to use my credit.
No one can spell your name, and someone's still figuring this out.
Yeah, he got pretty good at it. And then I was monitoring my credit because I have the app from Costco, Complete ID, which I like because I look at my credit score and I have like 820, 820,
10 million,
600. I'm like, something in this, what was the Sesame?
One of these things is not like the other.
Oh, one of them was a 6 where everything else was 8.
Yeah, so I called them and they're like, and I got somebody who actually spoke my language, which I was ill prepared for, like brushing up on my Indian. And he's like, yeah, somebody is sharing your credit file. We're going to separate that for you. And I'm going to work on it and I'm going to call you back. And we hang up. I'm like, I'm never going to hear from that guy again. 2 hours later, he says, hey, just want to give you an update. And this went on for like a week, and my credit file got separated from this scammer, and my scores were back up by the end of the week. It was really...
Oh, that's good. So it didn't take a long time to get them back up.
No, but, I've called the police on that because he's actively trying to use my credit. And the police go and talk to him. They're like, well, he's an old guy, and he's kind of sick. I'm like, no. He's not an old guy, and he's not sick, and you're the police. You should be able to discern a liar when you see one, but you've been lied to. So it just goes on and on and on and on and on.
All right, it's 8:32. Time for a quick break. Right, Lauren?
Yes.
We're going to take that break here on WCRF Mornings with Brian. Remember, Renew Women's Conference, Saturday. Be there or be square.
I'm the main speaker.
Not the main speaker.
That's not true.
You'll scare all the women away. Text Renew to 440-546-2255. More questions for Dave after this.
The rescued people of Israel were called, above all, to be a righteous and a holy people. But of course, because they were sinners, like you and I are sinners, they failed to be perfectly righteous, and they failed to be perfectly holy. They failed just as we would have failed. They didn't live up to their calling.
Here is Jonathan Griffiths with today's Moment of Truth.
One of the most famous passages in all the Old Testament is found in the book of Isaiah in chapter 53. It'll be familiar to many of us. Here the Lord speaks of a coming figure, someone referred to as the servant of the Lord, who will represent the nation of Israel, but who will also die as the people's substitute for their sin. Listen to what the prophet says in chapter 53. He says, by his knowledge, my righteous servant will justify many, and he will bear their iniquities. Therefore, I will give him a portion among the great, and he will divide the spoils with the strong, because he poured out his life unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors. For he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. So here's the promise, here's the prophecy, maybe the most famous prophecy of all the Old Testament. This servant of the Lord is going to be righteous himself, and he will identify himself with transgressors, and he will justify them. The prophecy in Isaiah 53 speaks of the servant pouring out his life unto death and bearing the sin of many. And of course, that's just what Jesus was going to do at the cross. As Paul writes in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God.
That's Jonathan Griffiths with today's Moment of Truth. To learn more, visit encounterthetruth.org.
Planning for the future can be stressful and cause anxiety. Let your friends at the Moody Bible Institute help take the guesswork and discomfort out of the process. Join us for a free estate planning seminar at the Embassy Suites in North Canton, Ohio, Monday, September 16th. Our experts will guide you through proven estate planning strategies, answer your questions, and provide practical tips tailored to your needs. You'll learn to protect your loved ones and confidently ensure your legacy, bringing you peace of mind. Whether you're curious about estate planning or looking to update your current plan, this free seminar is for you. Don't miss this opportunity to secure your future and make a lasting impact. Register today for this free seminar by texting the word seminar to 440-546-2255. That's seminar to 440-546-2255. See you there September 16th.
now, Dave?
I love this song.
What do you think?
I play it all the time in my car.
No, you don't.
I do.
No,
I
you do
really
not.
do.
I believe it.
It sounds like a really nice summer windows down kind of song.
Yeah, like my hair's blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
We're going
That's
to
not
the
true.
beach.
All four of them.
I almost said that, Dari, and I really had to hold my tongue.
My wife is in the car with me, kind of singing along
Yes.
with me.
She's wearing a kerchief on her head.
A tube top, all the
Okay.
all the great
If that's what you guys want. Text or call your
You should do a
financial
comb over.
questions.
Huh?
You should do a comb over. I think it'd be great, just for fun.
Anyway.
And stand in
Text
the
or
wind.
call financial questions 440-546-2255. Dave, how do you think election season will affect the economy? And should we do anything differently with our investments due to the season?
Well, it's going to be fiery. Maybe literally fiery, like it has been in the past. So I'm not allowed to get too political here. And that's why I like to talk about my podcast, where I do get
Yes,
political.
you're allowed to do it there.
Yes. I would, like all investing, I look for opportunities that are unique. So think back to the pandemic. Remember that pandemic that we had, Brian?
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know you were both in the Spanish flu and the COVID-19.
National trauma?
So
Don't know what you're talking about.
Are you talking about Spanish flu you lived through, or is that?
No, the one after that.
Oh,
After
okay.
that.
Yeah.
The COVID thing. Well, when COVID happened, February 19th, 2020, that was the last good day in the market, and then it was like poof, the bottom fell out. We bought into that. So look for unique opportunities because, I think there is going to be a change in political parties. I do think that's going to happen. And I think tax rates that we have, taxes could go a little bit lower. Spending probably go a little bit lower, hopefully. What we need is politicians that are going to really look at our budgets and say, look, we can't continue to spend what we're spending. Do you know how much the interest on the national debt is today? Just today alone.
$1 trillion.
$3 billion a day.
I was close.
A day?
A day. Now, the world needs U.S. government debt. We're always going to have some debt.
Yes.
We need it because it's a stabilizing force.
You've said that. I understand that you're saying that. I don't understand what that means, but I got it.
But we need I
trust you.
half or less than what we have right now. We're paying for things that we had record tax receipts because of the Trump tax cuts. So
There were not record tats, though.
Record
Tattoos?
tax receipts, not record tats. No.
By the way,
I don't have a tattoo.
Before we get to the next call,
tattoo-less.
for now, Burt Bacharach once said that what the world needs now is love.
Yes. No, we don't
Sweet
need
love.
that. We need less tax.
Let's go to Tom in Cleveland. Hey, Tom, what's your question for Dave Szfranski?
My sister and her husband, he was career Navy, and when he retired, he took his full benefits instead of the extended benefits. He died 2 years ago, so my sister is living on her Social Security, which is about $900 a month. Luckily, their house is paid for, cars paid for, but her savings is real low right now. So she's trying to make do. They did have some CDs that renewed automatically in May, and there's like almost $10,000 there. I think that she should probably go into a money market when they come up for renewal again. But I'm just looking for some advice on that.
So, one of the things that happened here is you had somebody that took, when you retire, you get all these different pension choices. You could take joint life survivor, which means you get a little bit less now, and then if the pension holder dies, the survivor gets usually a portion of that, usually half. Well, they took single life. So they were getting a pension payment as long as her husband was alive. When he died, the pension went away.
Boy, that's...
If you're going to do something like that, and sometimes it makes a lot of sense to do that. So you got to look at the numbers. Sometimes it makes no sense to do that. But if it does make sense to do that, what you do is you buy a life insurance policy to cover your spouse if you die. So if there's enough of a difference between the single life pension payment and a joint life survivor pension payment, if there's enough of a difference there to afford a life insurance policy, you could do that. It can make some sense, and life insurance pays tax-free. They didn't do that in this case, and she has some CDs, and I probably would not allow those CDs to renew, depending on, if they're in an IRA or a non-qualified account, that does matter. But I'd sit down with a financial advisor and just say, hey, what should I do with these CDs? How can we get the most out of this budget that we have here? Because it's tight. It's going to be tight. So we got to really kind of work this money. Got to work it.
In her case, a money market might make sense, though, right, if she doesn't even have an emergency savings. Everything's paid off, but I didn't hear him say emergency savings.
That's probably her emergency. If she's making,
CD?
She's living on $900 a month.
Yeah.
She probably does not have a lot of savings.
So maybe money market would make sense.
It could make sense. Yeah, it could. The money markets that we use are paying right around 5.3%. They change daily. When rates go down, who's going to lower rates? Chair Powell.
I don't even know
kidding.
what
That was so
Chair Powell.
That was so demure.
But hey,
So gentle.
It's not my nature.
That's a trend.
It's
Didn't
not
somebody
my
say
nature.
that?
Oh, the demure trend. Yeah.
Henry says it the best, though. Little Henry.
He does. Yeah.
I think
He's
Ron
kind of.
has that.
He kind of sounds like a little
But
pirate.
now, okay, let me ask you this. In this particular circumstance for this guy, the house is paid off. His sister is in a difficult situation.
Mm-hmm.
Is she somebody a reverse mortgage would be worth looking at?
That is, it is a potential option. I like to look at those.
You don't love them, but sometimes
I don't love them.
Sometimes it could work.
Yes, it's like almost like annuities for me. Okay, it's not my first choice when somebody says, "Hey, what's your best investment?" I don't say, "Oh, an annuity." I say, well, let's look at the situation. Maybe an annuity might be right for that person, 5, 7, 10% of the population. And I think reverse mortgage could be the exact thing too. Yeah.
So who do you recommend them for in general, a reverse mortgage? And what is it again? They start paying you for the house, right?
Well, usually you get a lump sum, or you could use it almost like a line of credit in a lot of cases. So they basically give you the equity in your home up to a certain limit, and you could spend it however you want. Yeah.
So it might help her out.
It could help her out. If you're starving to death because you don't have money to eat, a reverse mortgage could be for you.
And she could even put that money into a money market itself, have it gain a little bit of interest, and it could be a cushion that she needs every month.
I wouldn't want to take out, the more you take out, the more you're paying interest on. So I would take it out probably as I needed it, have an available line of credit. But I don't want to take out more than what I need just to put it in a money market unless that money market is beating the interest rate on the reverse mortgage. That's an arbitrage, and I would do that. If not, then I wouldn't do it.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
It's an arbitrage.
Guys, we've got like 12 questions.
Let's go. Come on.
So I'm going to need you to stop asking more questions about the questions.
I'm trying to help the lady.
I know, but we've got 12 questions.
Okay, fine.
What does it mean for the economy now that the yield curve is now uninverted?
Oh my gosh, I love this person. This
Nerd
is so
alert.
It's Mayor Phil.
Yes, I do love him. Mayor Phil's great. Well, it's not a bad sign, that's for sure. The 2s and 10s are still inverted. That isn't a great sign. You generally, about 3 months after rate cuts start, we actually declare a recession. But if you're going to grow the economy, you have to have what's called a normal yield curve. And that means you get more interest on a 3-month note than a 1-month note, and more interest on a 1-year note than a half. So the longer your term, the more interest you should be getting. That's a normal yield curve. When you have an inverted yield curve, it's a recessionary tell. And we did have a recession under the Biden administration. It was short, and you might not have even have noticed it.
Or like a 1 month is better than a 6 month or something like that?
Yes. So if you have an inverted yield curve where you're making more off of a 1-year bond than you are a 10-year bond.
Interesting.
That shouldn't happen. That's not a good sign. That means people don't want to put their money at risk for long periods of time because they're afraid of what's going to happen. When the yield curve uninverts, it's generally a pretty good economic sign, although The JOLTS report that came out wasn't good. They restated job growth. Oh, by the way, there's 1 million less jobs than what we said. Just 1 million.
Right.
Little
big deal.
rounding error for the government.
Rounding.
I round all the time.
1 million jobs. It's actually 818,000.
Close enough.
Yeah.
I'm 39 years old, and I have a 401k for my retirement only. Are there other accounts I should have in addition to a 401k?
Yeah, I like a Roth IRA for a 39-year-old. I think it's a good way to save because you get exposed to different kinds of tax law. You could also have a personal portfolio where it's just checkbook money that you're investing. You should have an emergency fund, a budget. These things are kind of the pillars of financial planning that we talk about all the time. And so your 401k is one tool to retire on, but it's not a silver bullet. It's not going to be the only thing that you use for retirement. And if tax rates are high when you retire, you're going to use your Roth IRA first because that money comes out tax-free. So the more the tax laws you can expose yourself to, the more options you have in retirement. And I like that variety is powerful.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it's 8:47. It's time for a break. We'll be right back.
Making assumptions is rarely a good idea. That's true when it comes to thinking healthcare costs can't be affordable. Christian Healthcare Ministries has been helping believers meet their healthcare needs for over 40 years. It's not insurance, it's a ministry. Visiting chministries.org/Moody eliminates assumptions and shows how this unique model has worked to meet the healthcare needs of hundreds of thousands of Christians. Get more information and have your questions answered at chministries.org/Moody.
Moody Bible Institute is a special place. We're blessed to work here, and we'd love you to join us. There's a need for the tax manager. You'll be supervised by the treasurer and be responsible for all aspects of trust tax reporting, institute taxes, and sales taxes. It's so satisfying to use how God gifted you for His good by joining the team at Moody Bible Institute. Apply now at moodyjobs.org.
I'll be in airports coming up, so I'll be getting a Starbucks, and I always tell them my name is Armando because when I was in Miami one time, they said latte for Dave, and 14 people stood up. I'm like, well, that's not going to happen again. So now I'm Armando to coffee shops, and whenever I put in a reservation at a restaurant or anything like that, my name's Armando.
Wow, Dave.
Yeah.
Wow, Armando, should I say. Thursday on Mornings with Brian, which means Dave's here.
As the Polish king, please.
Well, you have too many names, so what am I supposed to choose?
Your Highness, actually.
Yes. Yes.
Text or call with your financial questions, 440-546-2255. Barb has a question. My husband and I bought investment-grade diamonds as an investment many, many years ago. We now want to obtain their value and possibly sell them for their value. Please advise.
I got a guy.
Really? Investment-grade diamonds. What does that even mean?
It's probably jewelry. Most diamonds on our mind are for industrial use. They're used to cut things, put them on grinding wheels and such. But investment grade would be probably jewelry. And yeah, diamonds have gone up quite a bit in value. Yeah.
So what should they do? Reach out to you to get connected to somebody?
Yeah, I'll connect you with somebody locally.
Oh, maybe
who's trustworthy.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you his
Don't
contact
ever
info.
leave your diamonds at the office though to get examined. Just stay there with your diamonds.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Your diamonds, your gold, your watches, your jewelry. It's trust but verify. Always.
Okay. How do you cope with proxies from stocks? Should everyone be voted?
I heard, how do I cope?
Yeah,
how
that
do you
too.
know I do?
I don't.
I don't very well. You can vote on everyone if you want to. I generally... So if I own a company that I hate, but I love their stock, I will vote on those and I will vote against everybody on the board. But it's unlike voting in our elections, unless you live in Chicago, then you can vote as much as you want. When you vote a proxy, you have one vote per share. So let's say you own 100 shares of a stock or an ETF or a mutual fund, you get 100 votes. Well, the money management firm that owns 7% of the company and 7 million shares, they have 7 million votes. And so your vote is pretty meaningless, just like in Chicago.
Okay.
Oh.
What are your thoughts on precious metals as a part of your retirement portfolio?
Interesting. It's like a lot of these questions are very new.
Well, gold
Exciting
gold
times.
has hit an all-time high, but my favorite precious metal is
Brass, because if everything
use it
falls
for a bunch of
apart,
stuff.
fits
yeah,
into
blah,
a
blah,
9
blah.
millimeter, 357, 45.
No, but a lot of
6.5 Creedmoor.
cable news channels have got, hey, buy gold. We'll send you this gold bar and these coins.
You could get a gold coin, a Canadian gold coin, 1 ounce, pure, at Costco right now. And Costco sells gold bars, 1 ounce gold bars occasionally. They sell out right away. You can only buy them online. They don't have them in the store. But I don't mind metals for a small percentage of your portfolio. Maybe 5, 6, 7%. That's where I would max it out at.
But you're not saying buy a gold bar, put it in a safe. You're saying investments.
So
right?
what I like to ask people, though, is what is the purpose? So every investment should have a purpose. Is it going to grow so I could sell it later at a greater price? Use it for retirement, a vacation home? I don't know. Pay off the people that are blackmailing me? What's the purpose? So if you say my gold bar is for a societal collapse, all right, tell me how that works. Because I am investing in brass, and I am going to take your gold bar and everything else that you have in a societal collapse.
Stay away from Dave if it all falls apart.
Apparently.
That's the answer.
Yes.
Me and my sister received money from a sale of land from a contested deed, which came from a court of sale of the land. We were found to be the only relatives. We were contacted by a lawyer. Will we have to pay taxes?
No.
Oh my goodness. That's exciting.
So land is inherited at stepped-up basis.
Stepped-up basis.
Yeah. There's one party running for re-election that's trying to wipe out stepped-up basis.
You like stepped-up basis?
I love stepped-up basis. In fact, that's going to be
I
on
know
my
what it means, but
on my website. I'm going to have some merch.
we love stepped-up basis.
some financial merch, and it'll be
Yes.
I Heart Stepped-Up Basis. It's going to be one of the T-shirts.
Oh, that's cute.
Mhm. It'll come
So
in
no,
like
they won't pay.
For the ladies, we'll have a tank top, spaghetti straps. For the men, it'll be basically just
mesh tank top.
Mesh. I do have a mesh tank top that I wore to my friend Nelson was re-roofing his house, and I wore these tiny shorts and a mesh tank top. And
I'm glad there's no pictures.
And his uncle wouldn't even talk to me. I did it to embarrass Nelson, and it worked. There's pictures, and I used a weird accent.
Okay, you don't need to keep going. You can stop. Next question.
I can't.
I think I know the answer, but I need the Polish king's expertise.
Yes.
My only debt is credit cards, approximately 13 grand.
Ah! Oh.
May I use money from my 401k?
I just got a stomach cramp.
They said IRS, but I think they might mean IRA. From my 401k or IRA to pay those off. Been paying on them for almost 20 years.
Por qué você
Been
me
paying on the
odeia?
credit cards for almost 20 years. Is that what they're saying?
Been paying on them for almost 20 years.
Why do
Seems
you
so.
hate me? Why do you hate me? That's my question for them. Why do you hate me? Coming to me with that question right now. Yes, I would take a 401k loan at 2% to pay off my 20% credit cards. And here's the thing. You're going to have clean credit cards now. We have to find out, why did this happen?
Maybe you're not a credit card person.
You might be not a credit card person. And, there are people like that. I understand that. We have to identify our weaknesses and address them. Okay. I basically have no weaknesses, so it's hard for me to, you know what I mean?
No, I don't.
I know you don't, because you guys have weaknesses.
At your age, Dave, there's a long list of them.
Yeah, like my shoulder, my elbow, this thing on my
elbow.
Your elbows get sore as you. I'm 45ish, so I don't really have any body aches right now. But we have to find out what happened. How did we get here? And be committed to not repeating that, because once you wipe that credit card debt out and you've gotten the 401k loan, you have clean credit cards, and then you'll have no place to go if we go to that wash, rinse, repeat cycle.
You're going to start using your credit card again. It's just going to happen again.
I would probably cancel my credit cards.
Yeah.
You
They're
cannot
not an
use
option.
them until that loan is paid off. They're not an option for you.
Yeah.
They're just not an option.
Okay. Should I sell my I bond now and put it in MMA?
Mixed martial arts?
The same thing.
I don't think you can
A
invest
money
in
market.
that.
I
That
think
sounds
they're
like
talking
betting.
about a money market.
Oh, so they're not talking about placing bets, because that'd be bad.
The MMA is so brutal. I can't watch it. It's just
sounds like a bad investment.
Yeah. Well, so interest rates are going to come down, and you bought your bond at a stated interest rate, so bond values will go up. It's like a teeter-totter. When one side goes down, the other side, in general, goes up. I would wait till Paul cuts the interest rates.
In a couple weeks.
The 18th.
Okay.
I have my calendar blocked out. I've told my staff, hold my calls. I want to see this press conference.
Do your chores when I'm
I'm
watching the conference.
Wrong word choice was poor there. It's not the first time in my life I've been told that.
I'm self-employed and have a SEP IRA. What can you tell me about an individual 401k? Can I contribute to both? And if so, how much?
No, you want the SEP is the best plan that you could get because you could open that up at a brokerage account. You know, you could open up a SEP IRA at a brokerage company like Fidelity, Vanguard, or anybody else, and you could buy anything you want. The SEP is your single best, cheapest, most reliable, best option that you could have. That's what you want.
Okay. Best approach to buy a house when husband and wife are both 1099.
You're going to have a couple of years of income. You're going to have to show tax returns for probably 3 years. If you don't have 3 years, it's actually really tough to get a loan right now for somebody It's tough to get a loan right now. But if you throw in a wrinkle in there, like, hey, we're both self-employed and we only have 2 years of income, the big banks probably are not going to loan you money. So I would go to a local bank, a credit union, somebody like that. They tend to portfolioize their own loans and keep them in-house, and they're willing to take a little bit more risk. So that's where I would look.
Okay. And this is the last. It's not a question. It's a statement.
Mm-hmm.
Love you, Dave. You're the best. No weaknesses.
Thanks, Mom.
Love Mom. Yes, I was going to say love Mom.
It's a true statement. No, I do have one or two small
admirers
weaknesses.
Oh,
one of my favorite Dave foibles. It's been years since you brought this up.
I do have a lot of admirers. Yes, yes.
One time he was going down the stairs with a couple of open cans of paint, and he tripped.
Oh,
No. I didn't trip. Well, I did trip, but so we're
That's so
redoing the
classic
basement.
me.
I have like 8 cans of paint because I don't want to
Open.
make 2 trips. No,
Dave
they're not
gets
open.
it. This is exactly something I would do.
And
Totally.
my wife,
Yes.
whom I love dearly.
Yes, we love Levon.
But
yes, she left a paint tray full of paint on one of the steps, and I've got 8. And I went all the way down the steps with 8 paint cans. They're like smashing my face and hitting the wall.
Hitting your toes.
And paint's going all over the place. And I end up at the bottom of the steps with a can of paint just spilling on my chest. And Levon, of course, does not know what to say because I'm covered in paint and blood.
Did
and
she point and laugh?
No, she was totally silent. And I got up and I knew I was about to say things that would only counseling would redeem. So I went out into the garage and I screamed them there.
Yeah, that's good. And that's why you don't let Levon paint at home anymore.
She just painted a couple of rooms. She's painted a lot of things recently, and
including you, apparently.
So she said one time, she said, I'm going to paint the ceilings in the living room. I'm like, yeah, honey, you should not have to do that. We should hire that out. So
It's going to be okay.
It was really just self-preservation for me.
Can you
imagine.
just picture? It's like right out of America's Funniest Videos. This guy falling down the stairs, slipping on a paint tray. It's like Three Stooges stuff.
It wasn't funny at all. It was very painful.
It sounds very funny.
Thank you for laughing at my misfortune, Brian.
Paint pouring onto your chest at the bottom.
There was paint.
I'd be so
over
mad.
Everything. And we had like 5 different colors of paint.
And it was just all mixed up.
This is like, it looked
So
like
brown.
it looked like a bad Picasso.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And my nose was crooked. Like,
It's a little funny. Lauren.
Yeah, I've been laughing.
Okay. This is why I laugh at videos of people falling down.
Yes.
That's it right there.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's time to go.
I know. Dave, thanks for coming in today.
My pleasure.
I know. You can listen to him every
Such a
Thursday.
jerk.
If you want to reach out to Dave Szfranski, president and founder of Edgewater Investment Group, just come to us. We'd love to connect you.